boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
We are back. It's the Crunch Time Sports Show. Jeff, Booner, Lucas. It's Friday, January 24th. We have updates regarding the Detroit Lions coaching staff search and exit of other coaches. We have updates. Actually, recently breaking, I saw about 10 minutes ago, I saw another one gone. We'll
lot.
Get to all that. We'll get to kind of rumored guys that could be joining the Lions. We'll get to Brad Holmes. Yesterday, we didn't get a chance to get to it, so we'll kind of recap some of his quotes. And then we got later in the show, Caleb joining. But we got a good show today, boys. How we doing on a Friday?
Feel good. Can you guys hear me pretty well here?
Yes. Sound good, Boone.
Love it. As long as I'm not yelling, my volume's not loud. I think I might have figured this thing out. I don't know, to be honest, but I feel good.
Good tone to you, Boone. I missed out on the hat memo, though, boys.
Honestly, I didn't have a hat on. We were talking pre-show.
Like 30
no
seconds
hat.
Ago.
Earlier today, I actually had a thought in my head. I said, I think I want to go hat again going forward for a little bit. You know, I might cut the mullet. The mullet, by the way.
Wait. Still there. Don't you worry.
Mullet is still there. Lions season's over. I was like, I'm going to there we go. I was like, I'm going to keep it until the Lions season's over. So yeah, I'm going to probably cut the mullet in the next month or so. I'm going to get that thing cut off.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I did the mullet for the Lions season, and it was like they kept winning. It was the same thing like the fit. I wore that same outfit for 2 years. It's just like they haven't won a Super Bowl. It's just at that point, it's like I got to change things up a little bit. Things got to get mixed around a little bit. But I think I'm just going to do my normal fade on the sides.
You got to change what you do, the way that you go about things, the way that you operate, Boone. Just like the
I
Lions.
got to find a way to get better.
Change their philosophies.
Yeah. Klotzy's growing out his hair. Booner's cutting.
You're growing your hair out,
like it's in that awkward stage, too, because it's like I've had my hair short for so long, so it hasn't really like grown back, and it looks like thin right now, and it's like right here. What are we doing right here? And my hair doesn't know what's going on, but
yeah. Can I be honest with you?
Go ahead, Boone.
I don't want you to grow your hair out, dude. I've never seen Klotzy with long.
Growing my hair out.
I would love for you to just keep your hair the way it normally is. I don't like. I'm going to say this.
Like
not really great with change.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'm going to like the long hair.
No, like by summer, like I'll cut it again during the summer.
Okay.
Like no way I'll ever have long hair again in my life during the summer.
I saw some pictures of you growing up with the long Justin Bieber hair. I was like, I can't ever. I don't ever want to see you.
I want to see Klotzy doing that.
No, I never was. I was always this guy. I was always this guy. I never flipped the hair. Refused. I had a good flow going. No product ever has touched my hair, and I had a good constant flow.
All right. Well, hey.
Imagine that bedhead.
Dude, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Hold on. You see the Kings of the North?
Kings of the North?
Come on. I mean, we got it on the shop. Klotzy's got the Lions NFC North. Boone's got his Kings of the North hoodie. It's got the sleeve design as well. Kings of the North.
Beautiful.
Official CTsports.com. We just hit 12.1 thousand subscribers. That is massive for the fellas. So thank you guys for that. And like I said, lots to get to today. Adam Schefter put out this tweet to kind of recap what's been going on. Ben Johnson, gone. Aaron Glenn, or gone to the Chicago Bears. Aaron Glenn, gone to the New York Jets, head coaches. Tara Williams, gone to the New England Patriots to reunite with Mike Vrabel and become his defensive coordinator. Wide receiver coach Antoine Randall L. has officially departed as well to become, these are all promotions, by the way. At least they're not lateral. But Antoine Randall L. is the assistant head coach now under Ben Johnson in Chicago, and he's still the wide receiver coach. And then we just got recent news. If you check JT Barrett's Instagram, it says, breaking, his Instagram announced it, quarterback coach at Chicago Bears. It says it right there on his Instagram. So JT, a soft launch, just boom. That's it. Or hard launch, whatever you want to call it. So that's official. So Antoine Randall L's gone. JT Barrett's gone. But He didn't get Hank Fraley. It was announced by Hank Fraley's wife on Facebook.
Crazy move, dude. That's wild.
Yeah, and shout out to his wife because it seems like she was excited about it. And here, let me get this for you guys so you can actually see the Facebook post. But it is confirmed that he is not going anywhere. He is staying with the Detroit Lions. And to be honest with you guys, to me, this is the most important one. There you go, Danielle Fraley. Year 8 loading. Did you guys really think we would leave for Chicago? Our hearts are in Detroit. Look at that.
That feels like that was a little bit of an attack too on some people. The Chicago?
Yeah.
Not going to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is a little bit of shade. Who knows? But
no dentist either. No dentist.
No, but the dentist was right.
Dentist was right. Yeah. Shout out the dentist, man.
The dentist?
We laughed about it for a little bit. The dentist was correct. Great source.
We got to get the dentist on the show. Maybe there's more. Not really. There's more to this. Maybe there's more information he could tell us because he was right about Hank Fraley staying in Detroit. And to be honest with you, there's a reason he got promoted. He is now the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator officially. So that is awesome. So congrats to Hank Fraley. And I will say, guys, out of all the coaches that departed, he to me, obviously besides your coordinators, but besides the coordinators, to me, Hank was like the guy. You don't want to lose, especially to the Bears who need offensive line help. This is a huge win for the Lions to keep him. Huge.
I mean, I'll say this, Jeff, and again, I don't want to take away from other coaches. Like I'm with you. I think Hank Fraley's a big one, but like even just looking at the list of guys, you're starting to lose a little bit. Like I think the Lions had one of the better, positional staffs in the NFL because you had a Terrell Williams who now is in New England as the DC. You had Hank Fraley. You have Hank Fraley, who's obviously staying. Massive to get him back. I'm sure he got a pretty decent pay upgrade to say he was having OC opportunities around the NFL, and for him to say I'll stay to be run game coordinator and offensive line coach, I'll keep doing that. That's a big. And by the way, shout out to Dan Campbell. Like the man. Not getting enough credit for just the staffs constantly building staffs and then keeping a guy like that around. But then you also on the other side, like Antoine Randall L, boys, like that's a great wide receivers coach. He was massive. Like he was a guy that stood in front of the team and spoke in meetings. He was a guy you saw when they ran out of the tunnel. He was the first coach dabbing them all up and kind of doing that. And then you have a guy like JT Barrett, who's been working one with Hendon Hooker all offseason long. We saw that firsthand in training camp, and Jared Goff. So, like, there are some pieces that are gone. I'm interested to see kind of the moves they make because I thought JT Barrett, to be honest, if Mark Brunell goes to be an OC in New York, I thought JT was going to be the guy. Like, I thought we had that conversation.
Maybe does that say that Brunell's staying though?
That's what
it could, but again, maybe Ben had conversations with JT throughout the year and was like, hey, if I go, you're my quarterback's coach. And they had that convo. And that was why automatically, even if Mark Brunell leaves, JT was like, I've already committed to Ben. And I told Ben if he gets a job, I'm going with him. And that's what that felt like more so to me. And it felt like that a little bit more so to me. So you might have to go out and get a quarterback's coach if Mark Brunell goes. If Mark Brunell stays, that's a massive dub. I don't even know how to compare all of these. Like Jeff, you're like, hey, Hank Fraley is probably the biggest, most important one. It's like, dude, like if Mark Brunell stays, it's just as important. If Kelvin Shepard stays, that's just as important. Like there's just guys where like we're sitting here on the edge of our seat. I'm guessing by the end of the next week, we're going to know our full staff. And I'm just like, it's like pins and needles, boys. Like I don't know how to feel right now because any second, anything could come out. Mark Brunell's leaving. Kelvin Shepard's going to Chicago. He's going to New York. And I don't like this. If I'm just being honest, I hate the fact that you're in limbo with all of it. It's not just like your OC, it's your whole staff because you lost two guys. That's what's brutal.
Yeah, I think where I'm coming from with the Hank thing, and what I meant was of the coaches that left besides the coordinators, like Antoine, JT, Terrell Williams, like personally, I think that, and then you take Hank into that equation, like besides the coordinators, the reason why I think he's so significant is number one, because of who he was going to and what they need. They need a guy like Hank Fraley so bad. And it would have been an L, not just losing him, but him going to the Bears. And then the other reason for that is because the Lions pride themselves in what those guys do, that offensive line. And to have one of the best coaches in the league handling it is a huge plus. So I'm happy. Like when I saw the Hank news, I was like, oh, Thank goodness you didn't lose Hank too. Like, of course, Brunell is important, but and this is just my opinion. Obviously, I'm not well connected. I don't have a dentist that tells me information. But what I think about the whole Mark Brunell thing is what you said, Klotzy. I think if they had an inkling that Mark Brunell was going to leave, like there obviously would have been dialogue with Dan and Mark Brunell, like, hey, AG's offering me this job. I think I'm going to take it. And Dan probably would have went to JT and been like, hey, you want this job? So I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think Mark Brunell stays personally.
I hope so. That'd be a big one.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with Mark Brunell. Yeah. I think he remains here.
I mean,
and same with Kelvin. Same with Kelvin too. I don't think he's going anywhere personally. But we'll see. Maybe he doesn't like a new DC getting brought in any league. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he gets promoted. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But yeah, JT Barrett, what he did with Hendon Hooker, obviously, I don't know how to really measure it because even for yeah, I would say I can't really measure it. The only thing I know is they brought in a substitute teacher to play backup when Hendon Hooker was right there. So I do know that. So I respect JT as a player, especially
Buckeye legend. One of my least favorite Buckeye legend quarterbacks, but
I'm happy for him that he gets that promotion. But
he's gonna be working with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, which I'm sure Caleb mobile, JT mobile guy. I mean, there's probably it's a good benefit.
Hendon, I'd put Hendon and Caleb similar tier as of right now.
Okay,
so it's not that much of an upgrade. When you look at it. What are Chicago, you can be outside.
That's not. I'm not saying anything. I'm not on this one. I'm completely out on this one.
That's going to be the man to just develop Caleb into an absolute stud. While Ben Johnson overcomes that culture in Chicago and the organizational troubles, they'll be able to do it. Don't you worry. Ben Johnson, JT Barrett, those are your guys. Those will lead Chicago to the land that they haven't been to since 1985. I'm sure of it.
Hey, well, they got DeAndre Swift.
Jeff's on the back of his mind right now.
Hey, he's gonna run him right into the NFC Championship
Jeff
game.
is. I know Jeff is fuming in the back of his head right now because you're going at Ben and Caleb. Like, this is a worse nightmare situation.
It's like
for him.
It's tough. It's tough because if the Bear fan allegations weren't true, like I'm gonna get them. It's gonna be tough. I mean,
Jeff, I've
literally my favorite assistant in my lifetime for the Lions and a quarterback that we went to war over. Again, I didn't know he's in Chicago though. It is what it is. They're still the enemy. They're still the enemy.
Listen,
Jeff's fighting demons saying that.
No, I'm not. They're the enemy. But
that if the Lions were to be somehow eliminated, let's say both of them make the playoffs, and they were in different games, Lions 2 seed, Bears 7 seed next year. If the Lions got eliminated, I would put so much money on the team that you're rooting for to win the Super Bowl or at least make it out of the NFC is the Chicago Bears.
Jeff, I hope that that's not true.
No, I would hope
like to think it's not.
No, I don't want Ben Johnson to win a Super Bowl before we do. No,
that would be diabolical.
No,
I think I would crash out pretty fast if that happened.
Yeah, crash out.
I told you.
Yeah.
No.
Before Jaden, you would have a miracle laugh.
No,
that'd be the best night.
Chicago stinks, but man, I do love Ben Johnson. Now he's the enemy.
I've never, by the way, too, just so you boys know, like, I've never been on Twitter more in my life, just refreshing everything, like all day, like all
dude.
week.
I know.
It's one of the worst feelings, and I'll say this too. Like when it comes to it all, like typically you have one coordinator that leaves, and like okay, maybe some of the offensive staff is at risk of leaving, and that's normal. You have both sides coming off the year you had, and then like expecting to be a Super Bowl contender next year, and it's like you don't know. There's literally, boys, like there's no one safe on the staff besides Hank Fraley now. Like who else on the staff are we like? Yep, he's staying. Do we know besides Hank Fraley? Both sides. Like literally, it's like walking into Allen Park every day. It's like Dan Campbell and Hank Fraley. What's up, Hank? What's up, Dan? And it's just those two right now. There's no one else. Oh, Dave Fitt.
Dave Fitt, that's a good one. Dave Fitt. Yeah. I'd like to say Scotty Montgomery too.
I hope. But
yeah, I think
that's what it feels like.
I never would have imagined that Randall L went anywhere.
I think you know what if I'm just being honest with you guys, I get hurt seeing it. I was like, oh, that's tough. I'm not shocked. Like I'm not because he's gonna have an opportunity at some point to be an OC with Ben. Whether he's obviously not gonna call plays, but he'll make his way. Yeah, it's just a way better job for him. that he probably was never going to get in Detroit for a little bit, especially with all the other guys like Scotty in front of him, Tanner. Like there was just too many. Now he's in that position. He's literally what Scotty Montgomery is in Detroit, the assistant head coach. So he's the guy that's taking over next if something happens with Ben.
Shout out Jesus Vision. Thank you for the $2. The comment reads, the dentist was right about Hank. LOL. Yeah, you know what? The dentist was. I got to find out where Mark Ryan goes.
Yeah.
You know, you get your teeth cleaned every 6 months. I'm like
going to that dentist.
I want to get my teeth cleaned every 6 weeks just to find out information from this guy. If they live on a similar street than Hank Fraley, who knows what kind of information they have. So, the dentist was right. Shout out to Mark Ryan for that.
Booner, how serious are you about being an insider? I'll tell you what. I'm switching dentists. Yeah. I'm going to a different dentist now. I'll let you know that.
I you know what? Speaking of, you mentioned like refreshing Twitter. I've been I mean, we all have. We live in a news business. I mean, information travels quickly. You want to be the first to find out information. I've been trying to find out more about who they're going to interview as defensive coordinator. I mean, I'm not surprised with the OC stuff. Like I said yesterday, I think the reason they haven't interviewed anyone really, they haven't announced it formally, is just because simply it's going to be an in-house hire. But like defensive coordinator, it is. I'm like waiting. You saw Larry Foote. It's like, okay.
I thought it was interesting that Jeremy said yesterday that they're not going to really put out who they interview. Like, you know how it's typically like those teams, they put tweets out with like the pictures, like we had an informal interview with this guy.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's like, the Lions don't do that. So like, that's interesting to me because they could have already interviewed 6 different guys. I'm just shocked though. Like it's a weekend now almost. You're about a weekend. Typically, like agents and stuff would be saying stuff to Ian Rappaport, or Shefty would be on it, and like all these guys, Ari Meirov, like these guys would be on it. We haven't heard anything. And the one guy, Dave Burkett's the only guy that's heard Larry Foote, and that was it. It's like, and I'm sure they've already interviewed 4, 5, 6 people for that DC job. So like, I don't know how we even go about getting that information if they're not putting it out. Like just like tomorrow we wake up and like they hired DC. It's like
outside Allen Park, Boone. See the guy coming off the bus who's pulling in that parking lot, pulling all night.
Honestly, they probably, because it's like they would probably be like, you got to get off our premises. I'm trying to do God's work, you know?
I mean, Dan Miller put out a tweet. He said, lock the gates. Just don't let anyone leave. I mean, and no more staff. Just keep them in there. Just keep them in there. I'm
scared, to be honest, boys. I'm sorry. I'm scared. Like Calvin.
Okay. You know what? Let's have a little therapy. So, talk to me. Talk to the chat. Talk to Klotzy. What are you scared of? What's going on?
Listen, one thing's like, I don't like change.
Yep.
When we have good people in the building. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact you have good guys in the building, not just good guys, but you have guys that do a very good job at their position. Mark Brunell, one of the best in the league. Terrell Williams, one of the best in the league. The man snuck out of Allen Park. Try to think of who else left. Ben Johnson, gone.
Yeah, JT Barrett, you already said that.
JT Barrett got out of Allen Park. There's someone I'm missing. I know I'm missing someone. Oh, it's Mark Brunell. I'm thinking of Antoine Randall. Man got out of Allen Park. Like these guys are getting out of Allen Park. Keep them in. Like you said, like lock Allen Park up. Don't let anyone out. It's just, to me, it's like you have guys in there who can coach and who are very good at their jobs. They have to restart on all of these. It's brutal. Schiff got said to the NFL, like, yeah, no, you're not wrong. And then Coach Walk, it's very flattering. You guys aren't wrong. Like, it is a very good situation to be in, but it's also a bad situation to be in because you just got to hope that you can find those same type of guys. And it's hard in the NFL because guys, think about how many position coaches have gotten fired in Detroit the last 3 or 4 years. You see what I'm saying? Like, some might not work out.
I think the ultimate test for any head coach is, and I think Dan is he's a CEO, right? He empowers the staff. Ben talked about that when he spoke, when he had his introductory press conference. He empowers the staff. Guys love working for him, and he's a great coach. We had a ranking before the season or during the season, before the season where we'd have Dan. He's one of the best coaches in the league. He's kind of displayed that now the last 2 years. But the ultimate test to a great coach is who are you, not only when you have adversity, but who are you when you lose some of your top assistants? And this is for business, anything in life. And we've seen organizations like the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Rams, lose assistants consistently. It happens every year. Sean McVay's had his staff plucked apart. I mean, look at Kevin O'Connell, Zach Taylor, both worked for Sean McVay. You're going to see in Kyle Shanahan, DeMeco Ryans, Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel. And Mike McDaniel obviously didn't age that well, but you get the point. Guys are going to leave. Guys are going to become head coaches. But what happens? Like the 49ers made the Super Bowl without Robert Saleh. It can still be done. The Los Angeles Rams won a Super Bowl with Kevin O'Connell, but they've had other reasons why. I mean, they've had injuries, but still, look at them this year. Look at the playoff run they made with young players. It's really a test. It's a good test for a great head coach. Is how do you handle when your best assistants leave? And also, it's not just him. It's going to be a test for Brad Holmes when the time comes where maybe you can't afford to pay players and they have to depart and you got to reload. It's a good test for him as well. But his test is coming down the line. Dan's is right now. It's how do you handle a guy like Ben Johnson who's doing this media tour right now because you see him, he's on First Take, he's on First Things First.
Dude, he's been on yesterday alone. He was on like 7 of the biggest shows in the world. I was shocked. I was on YouTube watching something and I was like, oh, Ben Johnson. I clicked on it, watch it for a little bit. Next one, Ben Johnson. I'm like, what? Boom, Colin Cowherd. I'm like, what's going on? Boom, Ben Johnson again. It's like my up next just was Ben Johnson 7 straight times. It's like, can't get away from this man.
It's just, you know what? But he's one of the hottest candidates, now he landed. They paid him $13 million a year.
Yeah. I think it was not the highest coach, but highest new head coach, first time head coach, highest one. Hey, I do want to say this to some people too, because a lot of people are why Chicago. I didn't know this until this morning, and I don't know if I didn't know it until this morning. I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't know this. I think Ben Johnson grew up like a Chicago sports fan. I don't know if it was Bears specifically, but he's I think his family's a season ticket holder for the Cubs. So he was always over the last few years going back in the summer to Chicago and going to Cubs games with his family. I had no clue that does change I know people, I still don't like the Bears and Ben's on the Bears, so I don't like him. Changed my perspective a little bit on that decision making. That's kind of like a hometown team to him, to where he's grew up with Chicago sports. So makes a little bit more sense. I did not know that. Did not know that.
Happy. Do not care. No good graces for Ben Johnson. Loved what he did in Detroit. Hated the way that he departed. Both the team that he chose and that playoff performance were just pitiful. So grateful for Ben Johnson for most of the time that he was here. Can go rot in football hell for now. Football hell. Great guy. No denying that.
That's what I'm saying.
A little quirky, little Adam Gacy, some may say.
Jeff, this is what I'm saying, Jeff. You know what it is? I say good guy, and then he goes on and just hates him, and then he goes, well, good guy. That's all I was saying. I didn't say anything about football. Klotzy. I was talking about as a human.
I'm talking about football now, bro.
You can't switch it when I'm trying to say something nice.
That's what I'm not saying you're saying anything. These are words coming out of my mouth now.
Yeah. I don't like haters.
You guys are in lockstep. It sounds like, huh? Good guy.
No,
hate the decision.
Great guy.
Which I don't blame anyone for hating the decision, honestly. But that's
Chicago.
But guys, it's going to be a test for Dan Campbell. It's how do you respond to this? Because he's never had to hire coaches. This is the first time he's going to be doing that with this much pressure heading into next season. They're going to be looked at as a team to hey, you get upset in your first playoff game, number 1 seed. Going into next year, a lot of pressure is going to be on the Lions. And Dan, with who he hires, it's going to be important. I know people, football is about the players on the field. I get that. I do. It's about who you have out there playing football. And I bring up the Eagles example, but guys, like the Eagles, when they fell apart the year after Steichen and Gannon left, they still had a great roster. They had all the pieces. They just fell apart. If you want to argue that Dan's a way better leader than Nick Sirianni, I ain't going to fight you on that. So I'll give you that. But staff, to some extent, people want to minimize it, but it matters, man. It just does. So who he brings in is going to be important. Do I trust Dan to make that decision? I think Dan, honestly, one of the best parts about Dan is how connected he is. He is so connected with the NFL. He knows so many coaches and guys want to coach for him. I think that's an advantage. You can't say the same thing about Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni, he doesn't seem he's not nowhere near as connected as Dan Campbell, but the Eagles are a great situation to go coach. But Dan, not only Detroit is a good situation, but I think coaches want to come coach with Dan Campbell. That's why I think Dennis Allen, if he had to choose, he'd come to Detroit over to Chicago.
Yeah, be no
I do believe that. So,
Dennis Allen for sure would.
Yeah,
I do think there's a side of me too that like, I'm not as worried. Like I think it's like just as like in the moment feels like the sky's falling a little bit, losing everyone again, both coordinators, all these positional coaches. I go back and look and like today with all the Liam Cohen stuff going on, it was a good point actually. Like the Bucs, like they had to rehire an OC 2 straight years. David Cannell's leaving, and now Liam Cohen. But like Liam Cohen was a first year OC that was extremely successful in Tampa. Obviously, Dan didn't hire him, but what I'm saying is like there can be guys who they bring in who it's like, yeah, we keep asking like a first-time OC, Tanner, or whether they go out and get someone. Like you can have a guy come in and be just as successful. Like Tampa literally, Tampa had the players with Baker, Mike Evans. They had the offensive line, the running backs. They had everything in place already offensively. David Cannell takes the Carolina job. And I'm sure 90% of Tampa fans are like, man, like we have such a good offense. And now we have to get another new OC. And like, that's going to take an adjustment. And guess what? Liam Cohen comes in and he's great instantly. And then he's so good, he gets a job. So I think people should be confident offensively, no matter who gets the job, just because of the roster. Like to me, I don't see a step back offensively. I know you guys might disagree because you guys think Ben's that good, but I do think there is I'll give it like a 60-40 chance, leaning towards 60, that this roster or this offense is going to stay top 5 in the NFL next year, no matter who your OC is, unless Dan just completely fumbles it. I don't see that happening. I like no matter who even the guy Slowick or whatever his name is that just got fired. Like if you bring him in, like you still have a top 5 offense, you have the pieces to do it. I think that's the biggest thing about it is like having the pieces. You know, you see it in the NFL all the time. First-time offensive coordinators coming in with an already built offense, finding success. I think that Eagles situation last year was such a one-off because all year they were good until they hit that wall. And you just can't hit the wall. And I don't think Dan will allow a team to hit a wall like that, like Nick Sirianni did.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think production-wise, it's inevitable for this offense to put up what they did last year. But where I think they can definitely like improve is their situational play calling. Like I'm for the 4th down attempts, but those 4th down play calls where we're like they're getting too cute. Hopefully, now that Ben Johnson's gone, again, Ben was a great play caller, great play designer. Like Ben was a great OC. But there's times where I think with everybody, Jeff, you point this out all the time, like you're gonna have an ego. And like on the 4th and 1 where you're not handing the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery, hopefully those days with the new OC, those days are going to be like, okay, we saw what Ben was doing. We saw what worked, what didn't. Not running the ball on 4th and 1 did not work. A lot of the times when you had the incomplete pass on 4th down, that was a huge point in the game. So let's stop doing that. Let's run the ball. Hopefully that can be the dynamic that improves because I think if you're doing that, if you're converting that on 4th down more efficiently when you're already as good as you are with the Detroit Lions, you could put up whatever you want statistically with the yards. Like you're going to be a better offense, a more efficient offense. It's hard to see that because when you look at Ben Johnson, what did you say? Efficient offense. But to your point, Boone, doesn't like Ben was a very highly efficient offensive coordinator. Doesn't mean you can't bring another one in. I just don't see them able to replicate the production this year that they had. Doesn't mean it can't be elite. Doesn't mean it can't be top 5.
Yeah.
But now top 5 all time, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same kind of boat. I think with the talent, Booner's right. Like, this is a good offense, dude. You just can't be a complete idiot, and they're going to be a good offense. I just don't think they're going to be. This is how I look at it. Like, we all agree. We respect what Ben was able to do. With saying that, we respect it. We have to acknowledge that, just Tanner may not be Ben, and that's okay. But can he at least keep this offense efficient and good? Like, I believe he can. But it's like. If you like Ben and you like what Ben did in Detroit offensively, it's hard for me if someone's telling me, well, like the next OC can do that. It's like, how much did you really like Ben then? Because Ben is like to me like
I think both can be true though. I think both can be true. I think you can say like, hey, I liked Ben, but like I think just having the mindset that we can never have another guy as good as Ben again is like that's just like that's
to
ridiculous.
Be an historically great offense. Do you believe they can do exactly what Ben was?
Well, obviously, like again, historically, but like I still think like what Ben was over a 3-year period, top 5 offense for 3 straight years. Like, can another OC come in and do that? Like, yes, I think Tanner can. I think guys can come in. You have the roster to do it. Like, I just don't I think the historical, like the top 5, that was unbelievable. But again, to think that someone can't come in and be as good as Ben over a 3-year stretch, I think that's ridiculous because, like, it's the NFL. Like, if you have a roster, you can go do that 3 straight years. We see it all the time with guys. Like, and again, I keep bringing back, like, the McVay stuff. Like, you have guys that leave McVay and they go out there and build offenses, and they're still dominant. It's like Ben isn't the only one in the NFL that can have a top 5 offense for 3 years. I think if you find the right guy with the weapons, the offensive line you have Jahmyr Gibbs, a top 3 back for the next 3 years. You have David Montgomery for the next 2 or 3 years. Amon-Ra and Jamo for the next few years. Sam Laporta, Jared Goff. Like, why are we acting like it's impossible for someone to come in and make this a top 5 offense and keep it consistently top 5 for the next few years? I don't think that's a big ask. Like, I think like that should be the expectation, in my opinion. Like, you're acting like Ben's untouchable, Jeff. Like, that's the problem. And this is at you, but like the faces you're making, you act like, and then this isn't me being like, I hate Ben because of Chicago or anything. No, it's just being realistic. Like, it's the NFL. There are guys as good as Ben. Ben's not the best to ever do
No,
it.
he's in a class with the top play callers in the league.
He is, but that doesn't mean you. And partially, I'm not saying, not taking anything away from Ben, Jeff. But what I'm saying is Ben also was in a great position with the great offense.
Absolutely.
An offense that, like, you could say, oh, top 5. Ben had a top 5 offense of all time. Guess what? Part of the reason he did that was because he had top 5 weapons of all time altogether. The offense from top to bottom, from offensive line to weapons to quarterback, were all top 5 in the NFL. Like, so it's like you have all of that, and then you do have a great offensive mind. Together, it's good. I just don't like the fact that we're acting like without Ben Johnson, you can't have a top 5 offense anymore. Like, Ben Johnson he is one of the best play callers in the NFL. Not untouchable, though. You can find another play caller to come in with that offense and the weapons that you have, and you can find another guy to go do what he did. And it may take a year, it might take a half a year. But, like, let's not act like it's completely impossible in the National Football League to find another great play caller, because they come out of nowhere. Prime example, Liam Cohen coming from Kentucky, who was under Sean McVay 2 years ago, then went to Kentucky, and then 1 year in the NFL as an OC, was one of the best play callers in the NFL, now has a head coaching job. You can find guys. You can find them. Like Ben, that's my point, Jeff. Ben Johnson isn't untouchable. Like, you can find a guy who's able to come in and replace, and you can form him, and Dan's done a great job of it, of basically forming a guy to be the next Ben Johnson. And then you get the next guy, because you have offensively the weapons.
Yeah, I think your point about it can happen is true. My point is the likelihood that you'll have exactly the same production and offense that you had with Ben. And I think I think what Ben did here, like, again, he's gone. It happens. It's a little different than a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan, because the guys working under them never even call plays anyway. Like, they call plays. So it's like, you know, like Dan Campbell, it's a different situation because Dan lets his OC actually call plays. So now you're going to have another guy calling plays. It's not like, you know, the Rams or whatever, the Chiefs, any other example. It's not that I don't think this offense will be good or cannot be great. I just think the likelihood that if Ben can bring in just another historically great OC that's like the most sought after guy in the NFL, give him kudos. I'll admit I was wrong. Did not see it coming. But like, you can find good OCs. Well, of course you can. Like, there's guys out there.
Jeff, what do you think the percentage is for Dan Campbell to bring a guy in, and within the next 2 years, that offensive coordinator is going to be getting head coaching opportunities?
Now that's different.
No, because that's building up another guy in this offense because of the weapons in which. That's my point, Jeff. That's all my point is.
You're just slightly changed. Okay, then I agree with that point.
I think like every offensive coordinator, every play caller has their own way of doing it. Yes, but when I'm saying over here, and I'm like, hey, you could find a guy that potentially could be a head coach, and you can keep kind of building and keeping your coaching tree going, and bringing an OC or a play caller in to keep this offense top 5 every year. I don't think that's that crazy. You were making faces when I was saying that.
No, what happened is, because I've watched it the whole time. This is where it gets misconstrued, where you guys got misconstrued at. Jeff agrees to your point of exactly what you just said, where Dan Campbell and most likely will develop a guy into being another head coaching candidate. The question is, and it's not can he get 3 consecutive top 5 offenses, can he get an offense to a historical level? And I'm pretty sure that's where Jeff's going. I don't see the likelihood in it being this team offensively was compared to the greatest show on turf. the Tom Brady,
Yeah,
Randy
I
Moss.
don't even care about
And
that, to be
see,
honest. I don't think
why,
we'll ever.
but that's what
Again,
that's
that
where we're
happens once
talking
every
about.
10 years in the NFL.
But that's why we're saying that's why it's hard to say this guy can do exactly what Ben Johnson did, because in one of those seasons, Ben Johnson put up a historically great offense. We're not saying that the you can't have Dan Campbell have another prodigy, but will that prodigy do exactly what Ben Johnson did? It's hard to say that he can't do that. It's such high standards to live up to.
Yep,
I think again, I don't think it's I think like the greatest show on turf, like being compared to, I think that's, in my opinion, again, I could be wrong. I think it's irrelevant. Like, you never even won a Super Bowl. Like, you lost in the divisional round. It's the most irrelevant thing, in my opinion. I'm looking at, hey, can you keep this offense a top 5 like Ben Johnson had it the last 3 years? Because like, it's cool to say, hey, you had one of the best offenses of ever. Who cares about that? Like, I don't really care if the next OC lives up to the Ben Johnson hype from this last year, because guess what? You didn't win a Super Bowl. Like, what did you win? Nothing. Like offensively, you were great. Didn't do much for you, right? At the end of the day. So, like, to me, it's like, I just want an OC to come in, have a top 5 offense next year. If they stay, the next year, keep it at that level. If you could keep this offense at the level it's at consistently, like where it's at, top five, not to quote Drake. You see, I like that, Jeff? Give me a little grin there.
I do.
Okay.
Keep going.
Top 5. I think with that, I'm happy with that. Because then if you have that like that, guess what? That guy's going to go get a head coaching job. So that's where it's, to me, it's like, I don't want to sit here and be like, Ben Johnson was the best thing that ever happened to Detroit. We'll never get to that again. Like, no, dude, you're going to have an OC come in here and put up a top 5 offense again because of the weapons and everything you have. And if, like, you can find all guys, it's like today's NFL. Like, there's offensive minds everywhere in the NFL. Every single offensive mind in the NFL is drooling over coming in and being an OC with this offense. Drooling. Like, think about that. Like, every single offensive mind in this NFL right now wants to be coaching this Lions offense. Tanner Engstrand, if he gets the job, he has a free pass to be a head coach in the NFL. He just can't mess it up. He just needs to go on there and just keep this a top 5 offense. Don't mess it up. So many people want to be in his position to have the chance to be the OC if he becomes the OC and have that job. So that's where I'm at with it. It's like, and Jeff, I hope maybe you understand what I'm saying on that. And I hope I explained it a little bit.
At the end,
I think we all agree.
At the end, you made a lot more. At the beginning, I was like, it came off like you were saying, like, oh, they'll bring in someone else and he'll be Ben Johnson. Like, no, I don't agree with that. But your point about this offense, like, I do agree with that. Like, they have too much talent not to be good. They're going to be good. Top 5, like, I think they could be top 5, but like, the only thing I don't agree with is like the historic. Like, last year, I look at the defense, why they lost.
Yeah,
like, a historically great offense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Jared Goff game is a Jared Goff game, but when you look at the season totality, it's like, whatever. It came down to Jared Goff making terrible mistakes, but we can argue about that a different day. We agree. Like, Tanner, I think is fine. I think he'll be a really good coordinator. I still
don't talk about Jared Goff like that.
But yeah, like Jared Goff crapped the bed. Like, I mean, we can, he just can't do that again. Please
ship him for a 4th, send him to the Raiders.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm the whole, of course, whoever is the next offensive coordinator will be interviewed because that's how good organizations work.
Yeah. What's crazy, honestly, if you have this core offense the next 3 or 4 years, and you will, and you'll probably add to it, and like this offense is going to be top 5 for the next 4 years in the NFL. I'm interested to see how many head coaches come out of that. Like, Ben Johnson's the first one. I'm in, like, Tanner, if he takes over and they're top 5 for 2 straight years, he'll get a head coaching job. Then you get a next guy in here, he'll probably get one. It's just like, it's one of those situations where
it's gonna be like that.
Like, as long as you don't mess up, like the Eagles last year, like if that OC, whoever, I can't remember his name, but it's like all you
Brian
have to do
Johnson, their quarterback coach, they promoted from within.
All you have to do is just keep that thing on the same tracks and like just don't mess up. Like, don't make the guys unhappy and just play great play calling. And you're probably a head coach in a year or 2. And now look at him, like Kellen Moore, dude. He went in there, dominated. He almost got the Cowboys job where he was a couple years ago as the OC.
Yeah, Ben just, like you said earlier, Klotz, Ben just set an insanely high standard. Like, and that, which is good. I mean, good and bad. Like, bad because now we're like, you know, it's like we just have to come back down a little bit and be like, all right, we don't need to have the greatest offense, arguably in the history of the NFL, like one of the greatest offenses in the history. We just need a really good offense, and you'll be fine. If you have a really good defense, a really good offense, you're Super Bowl contenders, man. You know, and your quarterback doesn't shit the bed on the biggest stage, or one of the biggest stages, you will be fine. So whoever that is, you don't have to be Ben. I don't think they will be, But you just, like you said, Booner, you can't mess it up, dude. That's all you got to
Yeah.
do. Don't mess it up. Well, hey, speaking of the guy that'll be moving all the chess pieces, I want to get to that because we didn't get to it yesterday. We were talking about other things, probably an argument like this where we just talk about one thing for too long. But Brad Holmes did speak, and he had a lot of things to say. I'm going to read off some quotes from Brad, and I want your guys' kind of reaction to it. Give me your thoughts on it. What do you make of it? Because personally, I think I got out of Brad exactly what I expected out of Brad. It was very PR, GM talk, which like I don't blame him. He's not going to come out and say everything. Yeah. It's Brad Holmes. He's speaking like a general manager. There wasn't like a ton to take from it, but I have some quotes here I want to get to, and I have a video as well. And speaking on trading for an edge, but we'll start with some of the quotes. So he said this. He was asked about going all in and giving up picks. Okay, that was shout out to Corey Woods, by the way. He printed all this stuff out so I can actually read it. On Brad Holmes on going all in and giving up picks. He said, I think we've done that in the past. We're not scared of that. It just has to be the right player. So when Brad Holmes says something like that, I think we've done that in the past. We're not scared of that. It just has to be the right player. I think what I make out of that is I think he misunderstood the question, if I'm being honest. I think
I think he knew exactly what the question was.
I do too, Klotz.
I think he misunderstood the question because the question was going all in. It wasn't trading for Donovan Peoples-Jones. It wasn't trading for Carlton Davis. It wasn't trading for Zadarius Smith. I think the question was trading for a big name player that can come in and make a huge impact, which the Lions have not done. So what do you make of that? That's my take on it. I'd like awesome. Like I get it. Brad has to be the right player. And he did mention that I will give him this. He called around the NFL during the trade deadline and he made a good point. The trade deadline honestly should be moved back a week. Now that the season's getting longer.
I mean, man, even longer than a week, man, to be honest.
Yeah. They should move the trade deadline back a week or two, but he did call around. He did try and get players. He said Zadarius was a part of a kind of a smaller pool of players that were available. And Zadarius is a good player, but guys, like, and Easy may be correct. Maybe that means moving up in the draft, but maybe that's what his brain is wired like
big
draft.
Move.
Yeah.
And I will say, if that's the thing that he's talking about, then I agree. You talk about going up 20 picks with a division rival for a wide receiver coming off a torn ACL and Jamison Williams. Like I would considering that going all in on a player when you get draft Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, that's great. But there's a time where, in my opinion, and this, I'm not saying this is what Brad Holmes will do. This is, again, what I think should happen, what I think would be best for the Lions. You need to go get like a legit guy. Brad says for the right guy. If you look around the other 31 rosters, Brad, there is a difference maker that has already proven that is the right guy for this roster. There was a ton of them. When you lose Aiden Hutchinson, we were like, damn, that guy would be perfect here. But no moves were made. Significant moves. You got Marcus Davenport, but you need somebody else. You got Carlton Davis. You got Amik Robertson. But at the end of the day, who was out there in the NFC division round? Kendall Vildor. And the reason why I think it's so important, if you go back, if we're going to specifically talk about the NFC, what it takes to win the NFC, if you go back and look at the teams that have won in the NFC, boys, I know that we all want the Commanders to win. But honestly, who do we expect to win the NFC Championship?
I would say the Eagles. Yeah.
The Eagles. Who did they go and make an all-in move for? Saquon Barkley. Saquon, 2,000 yards, huge difference maker. Took him over that hump. When you look at the year before, the San Francisco 49ers, name the win. How many win-now moves have they made? Maybe some of them blown up in their face. They went and tried to get up Trey Lance. Blew up in their face. But they got Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams that could help overcome that. So those are two huge moves. The Eagles before that, who did they get that offseason? A.J. Brown. That's an all-in move, in my opinion. You're trading assets. The year before that, the Los Angeles Rams. OBJ, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey. All trades. They brought him there. What'd they do? Win a Super Bowl. And that was after they made another win-now move by getting Matthew Stafford. And finally, we're just going to stick it in the last 5 years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett had 19 and a half sacks, and that was with a defense that was already good. But they said, you know what? We need to go win a Super Bowl in order to win the NFC. If you do not, because when you look at the NFC, there's not the Joe Burrows, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allens. So how do you get to that level of talent? You go and give them even better assets. The Lions offensively, they don't need to make any moves. If you want to go trade for a great offensive lineman, go for it, but you don't need to do it. You look at that defense, you look at that cornerback room, and you look at that defensive end room. There are definitely guys in bad situations that want out that you could bring the Detroit Lions. I understand that it costs money, but we're acting like everybody on the Detroit Lions roster right now has to be re-signed. Like they don't. Like if you bring in a high-level player, you're most likely long-term going to lose a player that's on this Lions team now. That's a high-level player. But if you can have those two together for a Super Bowl run, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. So that's when I look at. I think Brad at some point needs to make a all-in move.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I agree with that, and I think for Brad, it doesn't have to mean it can mean Brad's job is not just to draft well; it's to manage the cap, it's to manage the roster. Like there's more that goes into it that Brad is very good at. He's well rounded as a general manager. But the one thing he has not really done, and that's okay because look at the roster; it's stacked. I get that. But there are pieces defensively that you're looking at. You're like, okay, the cornerback room, they got to figure out what's going on there. You have Taron Arnold and Dennis Rakestraw, two young guys. You have Carlton, who's a free agent. Are you going to roll into next year with Carlton and Taron Arnold again, or are you going to try and maybe get a better corner than Carlton Davis, or add Carlton in another corner? Like Aiden Hutchinson, he's in year 3. So even if you do extend him, you have 2 more years till his contract even kicks in. Like saying Kirby would kick in a little quicker. Brian, I think in the next, year or 2, it's 4 years for a second-round pick. Sam Laporta, kind of same thing. So you have this window of guys on rookie deals. You're better off to be more aggressive now, and you sign a guy for a 2-year deal, or maybe you trade for a player that's 2 years left on his contract, than waiting and then having all these guys paid at once and trying to be aggressive. It's going to be much harder unless you're signing guys for like a 1-year flyer, like the Rams acquired like Vaughn. I think Vaughn was expiring that year. Unless you do stuff like that. But yeah, I'm with you, Klotzy. I don't know, guys. And I'm just I'm just genuinely asking, and the chat can help me. When's the last time a team won a Super Bowl just by drafting? You know what I mean? Or by not making many win now moves. Like I can't remember the last team that won, or unless you have Tom Brady on your team. But even the Patriots signed guys. But I don't know. I'm genuinely curious. But I agree with you, Klotzy.
I mean, this is where I'm at with it. And listen, I get your point, Klotz. I think you bring up a good point, and you bring up all of the examples are good. You can't deny them. I just think it's one of those situations, and I'm just going to be quite frank. I think it's easier said than done. I think it's easy for us to sit here and be like, make a big splash, do this. But it's like, hey, how, Klotz, honestly, and I'm just being genuine, Brad Holmes addressed the situation with Za'Darius, and you were complaining about you had all these edge rushers out there that they could have gone get when Hutch goes down. No, if you listen to him in his press conference, he said he went literally. It took him a week, and he stayed at the facility overnight, and he said he got a list of hundreds of edge rushers in the NFL, and he got it all the way down to a list of here where there was a handful of guys that was realistic, that teams where he made calls to all the teams. And no one wanted to move off of guys. No one, guys, they're like, hey, we have 3 edge rushers.
Hold on.
Did you?
Hold on.
Well, I'm going to take, while Boone's muted,
right.
I'm going to take
All
this
right, no,
opportunity. I was saying
muted?
in the off season beforehand, Boone.
Am I muted?
My point was
You're
you bring
good.
in Marcus Davenport, and you clearly know you need more than Marcus Davenport. That
but all right, when you said it, though,
deadline.
you said when Hutch goes down, you go get a Za'Darius, but you have all these other things. Sorry about that, boys. I had an article up and start playing things. But it's the man's out there trying. What I don't get, and this is genuine. I think the Chiefs did a good job, and yes, they've made some moves to bring guys in. But I would say the Chiefs, yes, they have Mahomes. They've built a lot through the draft. They have, and the Patriots did it for the longest, and they did bring some guys in. But majority of these guys, boys, Jeff, be honest, Brad's been so good in the draft. Yes, he has had some misses, but he has been so good in the draft to where you need to re-sign guys. And I get your guys' point on making these big splashes. Do you really again, it's one of those things for me where it's easier for us to sit up here on a show or talking to the boys and be like, make the trade, go get a big guy, than it is to actually look at the cap, look at your future with these guys and be like, hey, typically when you make a big trade, boys, it's for one or two reasons for a player or a team's trying to get rid of him. One, a guy has a massive contract that a team's trying to dump it off on someone. Or two, things aren't working out and a player wants an extension. A player wants more money. You're going to, unless you make the 1-year deal like a Von Miller thing, which if you guys made that original point, Klotz, if you said that to me, I would be like, yes, I'm all in on a 1-year rent it type of deal with a guy like a Von Miller or like an edge rusher that can do that for you. For example, what's his name in Los Angeles right now? Khalil Mack. I'm pretty sure like he's done, his contract's up, but he's looking for a short-term deal like that. Like, yes, I'm in for that. But like putting your future in jeopardy for being like, hey, we want to go trade for a guy. And again, we could sit up here and be like, we know everything. We could easily trade for a guy and it won't hurt our financial future. Like, no, like majority of the time in the NFL, it's because of a contract situation. A guy wants to be traded, so you need to extend him. That's like you just saw the Hassan Reddick thing with New York. Like they just got stuck where they're like, we really don't want to pay him, but we just traded for him, and he didn't even get to play for them. Like, boys, like there's like the realistic side and not. We had the conversation yesterday about how you guys want to be safe with JMO and these different contracts, so financially you're set for the future, so you can re-sign Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, and those are the guys who you guys want to consistently bring back, Jahmyr Gibbs, Klotzy. But it's like you do have to find a push and a shove and like a balance of like, hey, when we do that, like I like consistency. You know what I mean? Like that's all I'm asking for with these conversations. It's like if yesterday you guys are telling me, hey, the money's a big deal, but then today it's like, hey, I want to trade for a big time player. That comes with the contract too, boys. Like if you guys want to do that, tell me who you want to walk away from. Because yesterday you both were telling me you didn't want to walk away from Kirby or Brian.
I made
Branch.
it clear. I was like, Jamison Williams is a guy that I'd be willing to walk away from.
Okay, well, so JMO, but like again, JMO, if you trade for like a big edge rusher, one of these big guys, like what's JMO's contract? $19 million. Like, is that even enough for it? Like, I just think these situations, like I'm with you, boys. I think if the price is right and everything is balanced and you know the way it's going to work out.
Yeah.
That, yes, I'm in. Like, if someone says, no, you're dumb, like, obviously you want another piece to this team that helps you be successful. But for me, it's just like being reckless and being like, trade your first round, your second round, the third comp, trade everything to go all in on one player to go. Like, boys, like, that's to me emotional, being like, I want all in on a Super Bowl. Like, yeah, we all want a Super Bowl, but long-term wise, I would love the Lions to be in the Super Bowl conversation the next 5 to 6 years with this core. And you get to a point to where eventually, like, do you guys really think Brad's not going to keep drafting guys like Brian Branch? And I'm genuinely asking. Do you guys really think?
No, that's why.
I think he's going to keep bringing. But again, he got Brian Branch. He traded up in the second for Brian Branch.
Well,
he's never given up one of his first rounds besides going back a little bit. He's traded up in the first. Like, he's made moves that have consistently been good in the draft. And now you're asking him like, hey, take those first couple rounds, go to the 5th and 6th round because you had Kirby and these guys. You've made great moves, like first round picks, Panay, Hutch, Gibbs, Campbell. You traded up for Brian Branch. You traded back and got Laporta. Like,
okay, but Boone, here's my thing. When we look at the team that we just mentioned through the NFC and even in the Super Bowls, when you look at the Chiefs, Les Snead, but Easy just brought up guys like Orlando Brown, they all went in. All those teams, they all drafted well, so that's why you can afford to go all in because you're still going to have Brad Holmes.
But those guys consistently draft. Keep drafting. They don't give up their first and second.
My point is, Booner,
they keep drafting. You want to get rid of these picks.
The Detroit Lions keep on just drafting, the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman, they're going to keep drafting, trade. Les Snead, keep drafting, trade. They're going to keep adding pieces that are already proven to try to one up. I think at some point you got to take that pivot. All the teams that have good GMs, Les Snead. When you look at Philly, when you look at all the elite teams in the NFL, they are built through the draft, drafting core pieces, letting pieces walk, but they're also making win-now moves. It might look like they shrink their window, but they're continuously good because when you have a GM like Brad Holmes, look at the 6th-round pick in Mahogany this year. You don't have to keep going to the 6th-round pick, but you have 2 third comp picks this year. You're going to have 2 third-round picks. Trade one of them. Trade one of them for a proven player. Go get
okay, and then Klotz, Klotz. All right, timeout 30 because now you're switching it up a little bit.
Second round pick.
So, all right, Klotz, did you look at?
You can get an elite player with the 1st round pick, the 28th overall pick. I'm happy with it.
Okay, I want to 20, 21, 22.
When you look what
you're sitting here telling me, no, Klotz, you just had your time. Let me get mine to counter that. because you're sitting here telling me that the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, they trade their first and second round picks to go get other guys, and they're making those moves, and they're making those moves to win Super Bowls. And you said, we'll trade your comp pick. Yeah, like I'm in for third and on, I'm in. The first 2 rounds to me, but Brad's been so good drafting in those rounds, just like he has in later rounds. He has been good, but you complain about the Giovanni Manus, the Sione Vakis in those rounds, right? We complain about those. To me, the first and second rounds are guys where you can find solidified guys that start next year. That's where you find those guys. The other rounds, you can find your Kirby's who they will start. But like, all right, just let me take it down a road real quick. Let me take you down memory lane. Let's just go back from 2020, right? 2020. Kansas City Chiefs. First and a second round pick. Made the picks. 2021, 2 second round picks. Made the picks. 2022, 2 first, 2 second. Made the picks. 23, a first and a second makes the picks. 24, first, second makes the picks. Let's go to Philly now. Let's go to 2020 again. First, second makes the picks. First, second makes the picks. First, second makes the picks. 23, first and a first. 2 first makes the picks. This last year, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, first and second, makes the picks. You don't just throw around, Klotz, just to be like, let's go all in on one guy and all this money when you've been drafting good and you have to pay your own guys. You just don't throw your first and second round picks in to go all in on a guy who wants a big deal. You don't. You draft there. Those are where you get your guys that start for you in the future. That's where you get your Brian Branches, your Sam Laportas, your Jack Gambles, your Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, that's where you get those guys. And it's like, I'm not willing to get all of those guys up. And Easy said, Boone, they traded up for McDuffie. You can trade up. Brad's traded up. He's traded back in the first. You can make moves. But I'm saying, don't just throw your first and second round futures out just so you can go all in for one guy that potentially could even get hurt next year. And then you're sitting back where you were before, and you never use your draft pick on a guy that you have on a 4 or 5 year deal for cheap rookie deals. Jeff, I'm surprised you don't like it because you love guys on a 4 or 5 year deal with the 4th year option and is like that deal. Like, that is so valuable, boys. Like, I'm shocked because yesterday you guys were lecturing me on the money, and then today you're like, get rid of them. I don't care about the Rams went all in on 1 year. They went all in on 1 year.
Years without first round picks. Years.
And they have a great roster.
That's one team that did that. I've just named to you the Philadelphia Eagles, who have been elite for years, and the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been elite for years.
Haven't won anything, though. Haven't won anything.
The Chiefs haven't?
The Chiefs have made all-in moves in free agency numerous
times. You guys are talking about
one
time the Rams have done a great job draft. To me, Brad has been elite in the first round. He has every first-round pick he's had. Besides Terrion yet,
Bill
because we haven't seen
Belichick
it.
known for, and the Patriots trading back out of the first round, trading
Brad
back.
Isn't Bill like you're just naming guys? Guys, GMs are good at certain things.
We're naming one team, and that you don't just do that. I just gave you gave us 2 examples.
Yeah,
and
you used the Chiefs.
I gave you a team that won a Super Bowl, and the Patriots dynasty, who was literally known for trading back to get win now pieces.
Yeah, and guys, let me just butt in because I've been quiet here. Can we not use the Chiefs, man? The Chiefs are the fucking
then
like they have Mahomes and Andy Reid. But
let's move the field goal post so it fits your narrative. Okay, that's fine.
It's not, dude.
It's fine.
That's
what it is.
Okay. Let's again emotional. Speaking of it, let's not use the Chiefs because when you have Mahomes and Andy Reid, they are the exception. They are literally the exception. Like that. So you can use other examples. Like we have to be a little more relatable. It's like me comparing everything to the Patriots. It's like, well, I can't really use the Patriots. They have fucking Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But when you look around the NFL, I think we're arguing different things. I think we're closer than you're saying. It's not about giving away all these picks just to give them away. I think personally, when you have a GM like Brad, who's as good at drafting as he is, people are going to say, well, you don't want to trade away picks, right? You want to keep all your picks because he's so good at drafting. When he's hit on as many picks as he's hit on, you have a great roster. Like the guys you're drafting, like Hendon Hooker in the 3rd, you can take these risks. Like Hendon Hooker, you can't. Like Brian Branch already made the pick. He's playing. He's going to be a part of your team for the next decade. Sam Laporta, same thing. Like Kirby Joseph, hopefully same thing. Like you don't need to draft another Brian Branch. You have a Brian Branch. So like now,
that's not my point. That's not the point that you don't need to draft another Brian Branch. It's guys like that.
But my point,
you don't want another guy like Brian Branch at a different position that's that good and all pro. That's my point.
My point is when you have a roster as good as the Lions, right, and there's some holes that need to be filled, you're allowed to be a little more win now in trading away a pick or two, not trading away 1 through 5. Well, no one's saying that, but
I know. But when you guys say trade the first 2 round picks, like use those to go get someone. No, like I don't care if it's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. That's fine. Like move those. You're not. Why would you give up your 1st round and your 2nd round? To me, that's.
It doesn't have to be both.
That's reckless,
but I'm not mad if you give up one of them. Both this first round of this year is a 28th pick. It's basically a 2nd round pick. The 2nd round pick this year is basically a 3rd round pick. In the 3rd round, you have 2 of them, so you can use that to move up. If Brad were to trade away, he would move back up. I have no doubt in that.
Yeah, Brad. I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. I don't think either way is wrong. Brad's so good, keep the picks, or Brad's so good, you have an advantage. You don't like if this was any other GM like Les Snead. If I was a Rams fan and I had Les Snead, I'd be like, dude, I trust this dude no matter what. Like we can be aggressive because I know this dude will hit on a Puka. I know this dude will hit on a Braden Fisk in the 2nd round. Like all these things, But again, like Brad's not perfect, right? You missed on Josh in the 2nd round. You missed on Levi in the 2nd round. Like we can bring up the other examples too, where the picks were just wasted essentially. So it goes both ways. They have a great roster. It's just all we're saying, and I think we agree, Boone, you would agree with this. If there's a player out there that can help you, not a player that needs a massive deal that won't play unless he has a massive deal, but a player that can help you. Like, for example, personally, guys, I think Brad missed out on getting Danielle Hunter. I think Danielle Hunter, even because his contract would have went and continued until guys were due, and then you can let him walk or whatever. But that would have been a win now move, going out and getting a Danielle Hunter or something. Like that. That opportunity's already gone. Like Danielle's on the Texans, it's gone. In the last 2 years, like before last year, there's no way you walk into that season with Marcus Davenport as your starting defensive end, dude. Not you, Booner. I'm talking like Brad Holmes. This thing that frustrates me. It's like, and I know he traded for Za'Darius, but it's like, after everyone was dead, essentially. So that's where we're at. Is like Brad, I get it. He's very calculated, very cautious, but I think at some point there's going to be a player that's available, or maybe in free agency, or via trade. That I think, and I'm with you, Klotzy. Like if you got to give away picks, I'm with you. I'm open to doing it because if Brad can find good players still, like even if you draft a guy, like who's playing year one, like with this roster as stacked as it is, maybe you find an edge that's really productive.
I mean,
my
he's
thing is
found.
If you're, go ahead, Boone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you guys.
I would say, because I think of a guy I think a perfect example, like Jared Verse, very, very, very fucking good. Going to be very good for the Rams going forward. But Jared Verse, first 2 years, or I'm just using Jeff's example because I just brought up Danielle Hunter over the next 2 years. Danielle Hunter is going to be the better player. Jared Verse could go on to have a Hall of Fame career. But at the end of the day, you're not in that Hall of Fame career. There's going to be a time where there's not Jared Goff, there's not Amon-Ra, there's not Jahmyr Gibbs. This window, quote unquote, that we keep debating about, like we said, you don't know how long it's going to be open for. So I would love to get a guy in his prime in the way that the Lions are now instead of developing a guy. If this was 2 years ago, I'd prefer the Jared Verse over the Danielle Hunter.
I mean, Klotz, I love you so much. It's just so unrealistic sometimes. Like the way you've drafted the contracts you're handing out the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay,
it's unrealistic to go get a star.
Jonathan
like
Greener.
That's why I don't think.
A guy like that.
Think like if you're talking about like cheaper guys that are going to be like good, like Jonathan Greener's, like who you can get
like
value wise.
Yes,
but like those guys, like, and this is where I think like the unrealistic of your point, like with it is, it's like you're like give up a first to go get a guy that's reliable because you won't. But like listen, like this is where I think we go separate ways. It's like, dude, first of all, you're not gonna have to give up a first for those guys. Like that's a 3rd, 4th round pick at the end of the day, and that's where it's like that's what frustrates me the most. It's like you're like throw out a first for this guy, and it's like, okay, so you want to go get a star? You're like, well, no, I just want to get a good depth.
I would love a star. Like, would I look at the Dallas Cowboys? That's
where it's
giving
unrealistic.
Up a 1st round pick for Amari Cooper. That was awesome for them. They needed Amari Cooper. That was awesome. People were like, why the hell are you trading away Amari Cooper for the Raiders? That's why there's players around the league. I'll name these guys might not even cost a first, like you said, Boone, but my point is like a second, you could get a 2nd round. It's just second. Denzel Ward, Marlon Humphrey, both of them won out of their teams, have 3 years left on their deal, of an opt-out soon. Go get those guys. That is a win-now move. Both of them man-to-man corners coming from a division where they got to play Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow in the AFC where they've matched up against Patrick Mahomes numerous times. You go get those 2 guys, that's a win-now move. 2nd round pick most likely because both of them are still in their primes. Like that
you want to go all in to chase a 1-year thing, and then what happens?
All in.
And then what happened? Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
A 2nd round pick is all in.
Yeah, but Boone,
You're,
wouldn't you
all
want
right,
the best
stop saying,
opportunity?
bro, Klotz,
to win?
if you're going to keep saying do an all-in move, and then when I say, oh, you want to go all in, and you're like, that's all in, you're saying go all in.
Would I love to go get Max Crosby?
Change your vocabulary if you're not gonna stick with
Max
it.
Crosby,
Either switch your
Miles
vocabulary
Garrett.
or
Go
change
get him.
it.
Go
But
get one of them.
Boone, you wanted Matt. We all agreed with Max Crosby. We all agreed if it
Yeah,
took
but
2,
the
3
extension
first-round
I
picks-
was out on.
But that's not but to get him, you were on board with us. I don't know why we disagree now. Like, wouldn't you want a Max Crosby, dude? Like, if it costed you 2, 3 first, I'd be like, fuck
As
yes.
long as I don't have him long term, and if you hurts your
that's
future.
another combo. We agree then. We
It's the
all
same
agree
one.
then.
It's the same one.
No,
Typically,
no.
like these guys are going to ask to go away because they're not happy with their contract. They want an extension. A team can't get it done. That's when
under
guys get put on the trade market. That's when guys get put on the trade market.
Argument, but like, okay, there's like hypothetical scenarios where guys might want deals, but the point that we're making is
That's 80% of the time when a pass rusher wants traded. That's
that
why
Max was realistic then. I mean, like, so why is it changed now? Why is it like, oh, never? We are all on the same page. Get Max Crosby, give up 2, 3 first.
He's going to want
happened?
an extension. I'm not doing an extension.
So now
Josh Allen, he would cost a first-round pick. Josh Hines Allen. Go get Josh Hines Allen for a first-round pick. Give me that, please.
So you wouldn't want that,
family.
I'm just, when I do that, boys, I start looking at all right, who you're going to move on from because the money. You're not going to be able to re-sign some guys. And you're willing to do that?
It could be a rental, Boone. It could be, I don't even
If it's a
about
rental, yeah, but dude, I'm just still stuck on like, I look at drafts or Ben's first, second round draft picks, and they've been elite. And it's hard for me to be like, yeah, I'll just walk away from those.
Dude,
it's
tough, Boone, to not make any win now moves and just kind of chill. And then when guys get paid, it's harder to make these moves when guys' contracts kick in. You want to do it now while they're under the rookie deals, man. That's when you want to do it. Like Goff's cap hit next year. Like, dude, they have $6 million available next offseason. 6. Like, this is only going to get harder, man. They're going to have to restructure Goff and free up some money. Like, this is their opportunity still to be a little more aggressive. And so that's where I'm at with it. It's like, dude, if I could get Matt, and I said it at the deadline, I'll say it today. If you could get Max Crosby, if there is a scenario, it's not about what Brad will do. It's what I think. Do it. Do it. Do it. Now, will it happen? I don't know. But that's where I'm at, dude. If I can get a proven player, I would love it. I would love it. I don't want to wait 2, 3 years for a first-round pick to develop, or 1 year, 2 years for him to get better and better, like Terran Arnold. I want a guy who can come in and produce now and help win now without having a rookie campaign. You know, like
Brian Branch helped instantly, second-round pick.
But he's here now. He's here, Boone. You don't need another Brian Branch. He's here. You have him.
You guys just aren't listening to what I'm saying.
So Booner. So let me get this very clear, so we can. Make sure we hold you to this standard.
Every time I say something, this is the comprehension of what I say just doesn't go through.
Well, you're like shooting in different directions. I don't know. Like,
I'm not. You said. Never mind. I'm not going.
We're saying get a proven player. If it costs draft capital, so be it. That's our argument in a sentence. What's your argument? Don't make a move. Keep the draft capital and hoard it. Like, what is your
players?
Argument?
Like, go pick players who are going to help you now in the draft. You've done it. You have guys. If you have to trade up to go get other guys. Jack Campbell played his first year, though. He was starting. He was still playing. Terrion is Terrion, Penasul instantly, Hutch instantly. Jamo's such an off because you got him as an injured. Jameer. All right. Man. Okay, you're gonna let me keep going. Okay, just keep.
But that's wrong. Like, Panay was a top 10 pick.
You didn't let me finish. I was going down the list. I was at the top, and you just kept. Next time, just let me finish before you start freaking out. Sorry. The same flannel. But go ahead. I'm not gonna give my points anymore. I've comprehended what you guys are saying.
Before, and now when I talk,
you cut me off. I was going through my list, and you just started yelling over it. I don't know what you want me to do.
10 minutes while you guys went at it, and now that I'm trying to get my argument across, it's not working. But
I tried to just listen to the things, and you just started saying that's not true.
Like Panay, like he's a.
I was going down the list. You let me finish my list. I was going down a list I have written down. You stopped me after the first guy.
Don't use
exactly. You have nothing to say.
Don't use Panay or Aiden Hutchinson.
Brian Branch, Sam Laporta.
You have those guys. Your roster's stacked, Boone. This isn't a rebuild.
Then why not, Jeff? Why not keep stacking it? Why not? Those guys. No, don't. Booner. No. Listen, I'm still talking. Those guys helped. No. I'm talking. Those guys all helped year one. Did they not? Yes, they did. If you go out there in the first 2 rounds this year and go get yourself a defensive lineman that you know is solidified, going to make plays like a Jalen Carter or a big-time player, you go make that trade to get earlier in the first round, and you bring him in to start year one. You use your second and third round comp pick to go get another guy in the first 2 rounds that are going to help you. You have him on a 4-year deal, cheap deal. You're sitting here complaining to me about how Jared Goff next year, you only have $6 million cap, but you want to get rid of all these cheap rookie contracts. It doesn't work both ways. You can't go get big deals, go all in, and then complain about Jared Goff's contract, Jeff. You can't. It does not go both ways. The money doesn't, like, it makes no sense. It doesn't. Like, if you want to be able to negotiate contracts, change these big, let me finish, because it was your turn, my turn now.
you really had to skip Baylor's per quote.
If you want the money to work, you can't, and you just keep paying guys. To your point, your guys' point, you have all these guys that are on deals that are coming up. You're going to have to pay $100 million, $150,
exactly.
$30 a year, $35 a year. Exactly, Jeff. So why are you adding another 35 when you can go get a guy for the next 4 or 5 years that's going to be great on your defense on a rookie deal? It makes no sense logically what you were trying to say to me. Zero. You have an opportunity with 3 picks in the top 3 rounds this year. If you want to trade up to go get someone better, if you want to trade back and then trade back up, but you have opportunities with guys with rookie deals. These guys, like, he's gotten Brian Branches. You're like, you already have a Brian.
You do. Yeah, you do.
Jeff, you can add more rookies that help, like Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs. You're acting like there's a cap on that. When you draft them, let me tell you a secret about the NFL, bud. They have 4 or 5 year rookie contracts that are cheap rookie deals. That helps you over going out and getting a big-time player on a $30 million a year deal. Simple math.
Yeah, who said $30 million a dollar deal, man? I mean, you're talking
about Max Crosby, Josh Hines Allen. These guys are $30 million edge rushers. It's like I'm comprehending what you boys are saying clearly because I'm able to digest all this.
I don't.
No one's listening to. No one's comprehending what I'm saying. No one, because you guys are like talking about go all in, but then you're complaining about the money and the contracts. Okay, you have the picks to go get rookies that are going to help you, and you have them on cheap deals for the next 4 years because you have to pay all these guys. We're not in Major League Baseball. It's not an unlimited cap. Now go ahead, talk. I'm done.
Okay, so where I'm at with this, and would you agree there's a window? Or do you think windows don't exist and the Lions will defy history? Where are you at? So are the Lions the exception in NFL history? Or is there a window?
No, I think there's multiple ways if you want to be able to build
answer the question. Is there a window or no? Okay, so
no, Boone, you can't get up after.
It's a yes or no question.
It wasn't a yes or no question. You said, is there? I was trying to answer it, and you cut me off saying answer the question. If you ask me a question you want me to answer, I was answering
yes or no,
Don't cut me off.
The question. Klotzy, yes or no? Is there a window for the Detroit Lions?
Yes, there is.
So how this works in the NFL is there's going to be a time where you have to pay guys. When you have players under rookie deals, you're able to be a little more aggressive. When they're paid, you can't be aggressive because you don't have the cap space. So what me and Klotzy are saying is while guys are under rookie deals, Brian, Aiden, Sam, Kirby, I think Panay, I don't even know if his kicked in yet.
No,
you can be more aggressive. You cannot, and I would love, you know what, Booner, it's a joke. You tell me to do homework, please find me a team that's won the Super Bowl with just drafting. And I will wait, and I'll give you this. If you say the Chiefs, good luck. Everyone wants to be Mahomes and Andy Reid and win almost 3 in a row. It's going to be very hard. Okay, so that Chiefs, to me, like that, they are the exception. They lost Tyreek Hill and won a Super Bowl. That would not work out for any other team to lose their best receiver.
By the way, Jeff's point, all 22 starters on the Lions are drafted. All 22.
Okay, again, let's not be childish. What my point is drafting is very important. Drafting is very important.
No, Boone. Alex Anzalone was not.
Thank you. Was Jared drafted from the Lions?
What are you saying?
Yeah,
you're not saying that you can't win just drafting people. They have made moves and traded, and they have brought free agents in.
Okay, like I let you talk. It's like, again, you want to play this game or not? You want to let me finish, or you want to keep talking and then say, let me talk, and then keep talking while I'm talking? So my point is at some point, you're going to have to be aggressive. There's a window. You can get a Super Bowl. And for me, I'll speak for myself. I would take a Super Bowl, right? I don't want to just be fine and make a playoffs, win a playoff game. Woo! NFC Championship game. Woo! Lose the next year. I want to win one. And to do that, because it's it's a quarterback-driven league, and the reality is you have Jared Goff, who's fine. He's good. You're going to have to go above and beyond and maximize the roster to do it. And they have a good roster, but man, if they can get a proven player for draft capital, I am all for it. Because when guys start kicking in, when Brian's contract, when these guys all get paid, it's going to be nearly impossible to get anyone. You're going to be stuck with what you got. So that's all. And I get okay. And we can just agree to disagree. I don't know what happened since the trade deadline for you, Boone, because we were in lockstep with trying to get proven talent. Now you've done a complete 180 and it's only draft. And then maybe sprinkle in a little free agent here or there.
To me, the easy thing is Hutch is going to be back and you're going to have guys. Like, to me, like the all in for me wasn't like a long-term deal. It was, hey, you bring Max Crosby and whatever he has left on his deal, because to your point, those contracts don't kick in. That happens. But if you're going to make that aggressive move now, it's going to be hard. And this is why I'm trying to explain to you boys, like, it's going to be hard to find a guy in a 1-2 year, like these guys that are going to want to be moved and traded. Again, these are going to be deals that you're going to have to commit to. This isn't like the Josh Hines Allen just signed a big deal. Max Crosby's going to want a new extension. Like, these are guys where it's like, again, from the start of this, when I said this, from the start of this conversation, is people like, don't be emotional about this. Let's think about the actual, like, let's be realistic. Like, that's where Brad is like very realistic, where it's like, it's not Madden. We can't just be like, well, let's just go out and get this guy and then we'll figure out the money later. Like, no, these guys are going to want to get paid. And you have to look at that now. You can't be like, well, and then, okay, Jeff, to your point, in a couple years, you're going to be held up with all these contracts. Okay, you're going to be held up with all these contracts. And guess what you're going to have because you went all in for 2 years? You're going to have no draft capital because you just went out and went all in on a Josh Hines Allen or a Max Crosby. That's where my tone starts to change a little, to where I look at it and I go, hey, if we can somehow keep these first and second round draft picks, keep drafting as good as Brad has drafted in the first 2 rounds over the last 4 years. He's been drafting elite. The only one in the first 2 rounds, Josh Pascal, Levi O, and Terrion. Those are probably the biggest ones where you're like, as of now, like Terrion's still the you could still wait and see what happens there. But like all those other guys, Laporta, Branch, Panay, Hutch, Jack Campbell, Gibbs, like if you want to move up to those top 15 to go get guys like that, like I'm in on that. But when you do that, it's like, I want those guys. And you're like, well, you already have those guys. Yeah. But guess what? You need to reload. You need to have players at that level. If you want to build a dynasty and be that good, there's a reason the Philadelphia Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, there's a reason those teams are constantly in it year after year, because they draft in those first 2 rounds extremely well. And they have guys that take over other positions, or they come in there, they're on a rookie contract for 4 or 5 years, and they're able to use the money when those guys are on rookie deals to pay their all-pro players, and they go about it that way. And that's where it's like, it's hard for me to be like, I would rather commit 4 or 5 years to a guy that's not on the team right now on a big deal than give away these picks and say, hey, he can go out and get more guys like Brian Branch. And please don't say you already have Brian Branch, because you can add guys like him at different positions that are that good in the first 2 rounds. You can. That's my point. It's not go get another Brian Branch. Well, you already have one. You have one. Why don't go get one at the defensive line that's as good as Brian Branch? Go get a guy at corner that's as good as Sam Laporta. Go do that. And glad you're saying that my point this whole time is go do that in the first 2 rounds.
That's my point. You don't have those. It's the two, like defensive end and corner.
So why not go draft guys in the first 2 rounds and have them on 45-year deals? Like, I don't.
Because my point is, he just tried to do that. He just tried to do that this year.
It didn't work.
Like, I'm talking about 1 to 2 years where a guy can just dominate in his position
that didn't help
to
out
help you win a Super Bowl.
We're going to switch up on it. Come on. Boys.
No, but it's not switch up, Booner. It's just acknowledging that.
So what happens now? I want to put you in a scenario. I want to put you guys in a scenario. What happens if you go all in on a guy and the money's all messed up, draft picks are gone, you go all in, you're like, we're all in on a Super Bowl this next year, and they lose, and you don't win a Super Bowl. And the next year you don't make it back to the playoffs or the NFC Championship game because you start to fall apart money-wise. Guys start leaving to go get contracts. You can't pay certain guys, and things start to fall apart, and then you have to kind of rebuild again. That's my point. That's where I start to look at.
Tell me a franchise that has been crippled besides Deshaun Watson, because that's going to take mega money. Tell me, especially, we'll go this, defensive end and corner, because that's a position I'm talking about. Tell me a move that's been made by franchise by signing one player that has crippled their whole team.
I have had my research.
I mean, you brought up organizations that have been like they draft really well, Booner. Like I get the organizations you brought up, but those organizations, you use the Eagles, they went all in for Saquon. So like you contradict yourself. Like they'll be aggressive. It's not.
But
I don't think what
they
Lucas
don't give away
saying,
their first and second round picks though.
But it's the point. I think you're the premise of it is trade.
What was the trade? What was the trade?
It's bring in a player that's proven. Personally, for me, you asked me a hypothetical scenario. I'll answer that. Okay, what happens when you bring in a guy and you lose early? My response to that would be the same way I would feel, actually worse, I would feel, is if you had a rookie and he wasn't ready for the moment come the NFC Championship game, and that's what you rocked out there with. Like, I want a proven guy. Doesn't mean they trade away their next 5 first. Like, dude, what's a pick or 2
and
gonna do the
Howie Roseman gave up the 18th overall pick for AJ Brown.
They traded for Darius Slay. I mean, they traded for Darius.
I believe a 3rd rounder, but they traded a first for AJ Brown, and they literally went to the Super Bowl because go get the AJ Brown of the defense. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, which I think
the AJ Brown trade was an 18th and 101st pick. And
what
they
year?
used the 18th pick to get Treylon Burks. That was in 2022.
And guess what?
They
still got Kyle Hamilton with the 14th pick in that draft because they had first-round picks to work with.
The Eagles.
But like,
we can point out the hits and we can point out misses.
Let me pull that up then. 2022? Oh, they got Jordan Davis. Sorry. 2022.
But you're saying like they won't move off these first-round picks.
I'm just my point. Yeah, but my point is like you can move off if you had 2 firsts. Move off of them if you had opportunities to do it. But to me, it's like these teams, like the Eagles, they got Cam Jurgens in the 2nd and they got Jordan Davis in the 1st that year. It's like they're still like to the point. Like I would agree with you guys if they keep their first 2 round picks and they make the move. I'm in. I'm just not sitting here going to be like again, like all these teams that are great, they do it. Like Jeff, you bring up the Saquon example, like doesn't make sense. Like it makes sense. That was a free agent signing. Like if you go out and get a free agent signing, that's all I've been saying this whole time is keep your picks, your first and second round picks.
But you're like,
trying to bring up an example of Saquon. If they go out and sign someone on a team, a deal that's like makes sense, and it's like a 2-year deal, and that yes, my point from the beginning of all this is that first and second round pick, I'm not giving up. And if you go out and get someone in free agency that you guys are talking about that's breaking and it's going to help you out, yes. But I'm not going to sit here and give up these first and seconds when all these other teams that are consistently good, whether they're winning Super Bowls or not, they're always in the AFC Championship game. They're always in the NFC Championship game. They're always Super Bowl favorites. They're keeping their first and seconds, and they're using them, whether it's 28th, 29th or not. The Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, like they're still keeping them, and they're adding pieces that they know are going to make a difference on their team instantly. And it's like that's where the first and second ones to me are so valuable because you can get a guy that instantly will make an impact on a Super Bowl team on a rookie deal. That's very valuable when you're trying to start pinching for pennies and you're like sitting there like, to your point, Jeff, like you keep bringing up the money and the money and the money and the money. The most valuable thing to me when you have a roster that's built and you have all pro players and Pro Bowl players that you have to start paying, it's like those first and second round picks are more valuable because you need to get guys that are at that level to play. So what?
When the bill comes, you have 2 years for like Hutch and these guys, you have some time, Booner, before that bill comes due. You know, like you have a little bit of time. You still have that window. So we agree there's a window.
That has nothing to do. Yeah, that has nothing to do with this whole. The thing is, I'm not giving up first and second round picks. That's the bottom line for me. I'm not.
You will not give up a single first or second round pick. That is unnegotiable. See that to me, but then you're
unless you're moving up.
You're not acknowledging how well Brad drafts beyond that. Like the dude's found.
I just think Brad's been so good in the first 2 rounds, and he gets guys that are all pro level guys in the first 2 rounds on rookie, and you got them on rookie deals. I think that's valuable when you have to start paying $150, $200 million contracts. The value of that goes up for a franchise, like up. That's why, again, I'm giving you these examples of franchises who for the last 6 years have constantly Super Bowl contenders, and every single year they're drafting in the first and second round. Whether they're trading the first round for AJ Brown, they have extra first rounds to use. They're trading guys out to get more first rounds. There's a reason, because they know how valuable these contracts are as rookies. Like, it is one of the most valuable things when you have a team where you're paying big time players. You need those, and to have consistency, sustainability in a franchise at that level, you need to have those 4 or 5 year deals on rookie levels of guys who can play at that level.
Yeah.
Like how often do guys hit in the 5th and 6th round that are going to play at the level of a first or second rounder? You said
first and second, so 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, we can go 3rd. Kirby, a hit. Amon-Ra, hit. Christian Mahogany, hit. Ali McNeil, hit. You want to keep going?
Yes.
We can keep going.
All right, you're naming them, but there's more first, second rounders that have hit with Brad Holmes.
Booner,
that's
I don't
2 rounds out of like 6 rounds.
Booner,
all right, you're just trying to ignore what I'm saying, man.
No,
honestly,
we agree. Okay, how about this? We agree.
I felt like that was a great point that I brought up there, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, it's valuable. The first and second one's valuable, and you're like, well, yeah, obviously Brad's hit. He's one of the best drafters in the NFL. He's hit outside the first and second. It's a higher percentage to hit in the first and second round. You have guys that their skill levels just at a different level. That doesn't mean you can't get them back there, but it's a lower percentage chance to find those guys that hit, dude. Like, it's obvious you're acting. Like, dude, you're a guy that preaches how good you are with draft, all this percentages and all that. Like, you know that, Jeff. Like, I don't know why we're acting like
okay,
that.
hold on. Don't do that. Don't that.
You
do.
No,
Booner, Booner, stop.
You have a better chance at getting an all-pro player in the first 2 rounds than you do 3rd and
no one is
You have a better chance.
When you say, like, boys, you're missing what I'm saying. Like, when you say stuff like that, I think you're completely missing what me and Lucas are saying. We're not saying never make a single draft pick in the first or 2 rounds for the next decade. We're saying trade a fucking pick, dude. Like, you're like, dude, you should know that. I mean, duh, they'll have a pick the next year and the next year and the next year. All we're saying is, dude, if you can get if you ask me right now, if I can trade this first round pick this year for a proven player, do it. Because I do not want to be in a situation next year where you're in the NFC Championship game and your first round pick is not ready because he's Terrion Arnold and he needs a year. I want a guy who's ready for the moment and can get you over the top. And I'm sure Brad, being as good at his job as he is, can figure out, don't trade for a guy on a 5-year deal making $30 million. There's a guy out there that's on a 2-year short-term deal, or maybe it's in free agency, which we can kumbaya over because we agree. Some way, somehow, get a proven guy. So that way, when you're in a massive game, a Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, he can make a play. I want more guys who can make a play right now. I don't want to wait. And I seen it with first-round picks. Maybe it's Jameer. Maybe it's Jack, and you need a year. Okay? Maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's a really good player. Or maybe it's Terrion, and you need a year. I don't want to wait a year, man. Next year, I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to win a Super Bowl, Boone. I want one. I want a ring. Okay? I want a ring. Okay? I don't want to just make the playoffs every year. Okay? I want to. You don't have to trade away every pick to do that. You don't. It takes a pick or 2. That's all we're saying. So, like, I don't want to trade away every single draft pick the next decade. Just one or 2. That is it. That is all I'm saying. I don't want, I want to make sure that's very clear. I understand the draft. I do. But I want a guy who can impact the game right now at a high level, a proven player, if he's available. That's my whole point. And we can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree. You'd rather keep the first round pick. You don't want a proven guy who can make play. I get that. Okay. I get it. We just agree to disagree. That's where we're at. So we'll end it there. We'll end it there. Okay. I'm sorry. We agree to disagree. We see it differently. Now we know what Brad's going to do. He's going to draft. That's what he's going to do.
That's what he's doing.
But my argument's not based on what Brad's going to do. It's me. It's what I think I want him to do. personally. But we know what he's going to do. He's not going to trade.
All right, we got it. Like, let's get to the next segment.
I just need to make one thing clear.
Yeah, go ahead, Klotz. We got time. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, nothing to do with. I see in the chat. People say, I think it was just one guy, but I just need to clear because if anybody else thinks, I am not a JMO hater. I love Jameson Williams. Support him. Said he'd have 1,000 total scrimmage yards. But there's just guys that I think won't be able to be re-signed. Given you look at T. Higgins in Cincinnati, they want to pull him in. And you could argue that T. Higgins, especially there, a little bit more valuable. But I think JMO, if you want to re-sign him, that's another one where you're going to have to not sign somebody else. And I look at wide receiver 2 compared to RB1 in Gibbs, wide receiver 1 in Amon-Ra, tight end 1 in Laporta. JMO's a great player, but great players lose, or great teams lose great players at some point. And I think Jameson Williams, because if he keeps balling out like this, he's going to need a bag. And I think you can find a guy in the first, second, third round that can be a very good wide receiver 2 for this team.
I mean, Bill Buttlicker says Lucas hates JMO, so I'm going to go with Bill Buttlicker.
No. I love Jameson Williams. I do.
Yeah, no, you don't have to explain. Dude, people are going to say with it. Of course, we love it at Jameson Williams. Well, speaking of Jameson Williams, I want to get to player grades because we didn't get to it yesterday because we had Jeremy on, we had Anthony on, and then we got into some other conversation. We weren't actually able to do grades. So I want to do grades, and then we're going to have Caleb on at 940. We'll do pick 'em, and then I got to get that graphic.
Caleb's going to come in here with such a new vibe. The tension in here is just I could cut it with a somehow I was the one who made the original point, and I ended up being on the sideline there. So that was thrilling for me to watch. I could kind of chime in for a little gasoline on the fire, a little bit thrilling. Both of you guys, great job.
It's important. It's important. There's people out there that agree with Booner. There's people out there that agree with me. It's a good discussion because it's a real thing. When you're a Super Bowl team, you have to have these types of discussions. I mean, even if you disagree or agree, it doesn't matter. But hey, I got some grades. I want to get to them. I got a list of players and coaches, actually, because I want to throw coaches on here because, sure. Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, all this talk. We're getting to coaches. So let's get to it. We'll start, and let me get the music on really quickly because I don't want Caleb's going to be joining and probably being like, "What the hell did I just walk into?" But all right, let's do this thing. All right, let's go. All right. Player grade. Where are we at? Brad Holmes. No, I'm just kidding. All right. First on the list, your quarterback, Jared Goff. Give me a grade for the entire year. Entire year, start to finish. Jared Goff, what grade are you giving him?
Boone, you want to start or you want me to?
You go ahead.
All right. Hey, Boone, I'm expecting a long answer here from you because you made a bold take that came to fruition. But I'll put it like this. Jared Goff, A. Can't give him A+, but Jared Goff exceeded my expectations. I think an A+. Obviously, I would give a Super Bowl appearance and a good playoff run. Doesn't even have to win the Super Bowl because it doesn't all come down to him. I would give that an A+. But Jared Goff, obviously very disappointing in that playoff game, but he was such a good quarterback throughout the totality of the year. You saw him evolve. He's not a mobile quarterback, but there was times you're like, oh, Jared's kind of getting loose out there, specifically inside the pocket. But I'm going to give Jared Goff an A. Had a great season. Sucks to see he went out like that in the playoffs, but he had an A grade for me.
Yeah, let me go.
All right, hey, I'm trying to get. I have to do. I was trying to get the records for the.
No, you're good, Boone. You're good, Boone.
I was trying to text them to you.
No, you're good. Yeah, we got to get these records. They're important for the pick'em. So
yeah, that's why I was just like, I'm gonna lock in real quick.
For me, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be honest. I thought about this today, and I was going on a show to give him an A. I'm gonna be honest. That last game dropped it. It's just in that type of game, it's hard to not to mention. It drops your grade, dude. So I'm gonna go B+.
That's foul. That's dude.
Yeah, that's
89.
That's like
he
trying
was.
to.
I think he was a top
trying
quarterback this year.
I'm okay. A-. I'll give him an A-.
There we go. All right.
Disrespectful. And now you guys see what I deal with all the time. Jeez. I mean, Jared Goff deserves an A. And if you want, I think outside of the playoffs, if we're talking regular season, you're probably going almost an A+. The man had an opportunity to win the MVP. He just had two guys that were playing at an insane level with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. If Jared Goff played like he did this last season, when Lamar won it with the way he won it, Jared Goff would have won MVP last year if he played this at this level. So I give Jared Goff an A, boys. I said at the beginning of the year, I said back in April, the man was going to be an MVP finalist. And guess where he's sitting at right now? He's heading over to the NFL awards as an MVP finalist. Won't win it. Probably won't be top 3, but he's there. So that's all that matters. Should be playing in the Super Bowl, but
be top 5.
He is a top 5 quarterback this season for sure. Yeah. Top 4, to be honest, because in the MVP voting, Saquon was there. So he was a top 4 quarterback this season, according to the NFL
him or Jay
media.
Daniels, what are you taking?
Do you want me to be honest with that or not?
Do you want me to be honest? Specifically this year.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yes, I would love it.
People might not like this. Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC right now. And he took over. Like there's I told you guys. I told you guys off air. That's why I was shocked. I thought you already knew. I said off air. I was like, I want to say this on the show. Jaden Daniels is the best in the NFC. He's like the Mahomes, the Josh Allen, the Lamar Jackson. Like that's who Jaden Daniels is. There is not one quarterback like that in the NFC. Not one. They're all in the AFC. The Josh Allens and them.
This is foul. This is foul.
He is way better. Dude, I put a tweet out yesterday. Wow. Someone Jason Kelsey did a podcast and he was on the radio. He was doing a radio hit. And he said there's not one position group that the Commanders are better than the Eagles. And I commented underneath. I said, the most important position in football, quarterback, Jaden Daniels is 100 times better than Jalen Hurts. A lot of people agreed. A lot of Eagles fans disagreed and said you're not playing in the playoffs anymore, Booner, so shut up. But that's okay. But I still think Jaden Daniels is literally on that level, or he's going to be on that level of those elite guys in the AFC. And there's no one like that in the NFC. It's literally just Jaden Daniels, and then it's the rest of the boys. That's it. Jaden's the best in the NFC.
All right, next player I got, Jameson Williams. Give me a grade on JMO this year. Give me a grade.
I'm going to go with the A as well. Can't do the A+ because of suspension, but, JMO blew my expectations out of the water. I thought he'd get 1,000 total scrimmage yards. He had 1,000 total receiving yards, and I thought he said I'd give him 7 touchdowns. I believe he met that, but JMO, multiple times. You see the hand catches. A lot of people said he wouldn't be able to catch with his hands, and he wasn't just a deep threat. He was through all 3 levels, consistent, especially during the late half of the season. So JMO took a huge step forward. I'm going to give JMO A.
Jeff, go ahead.
So I'm gonna listen for JMO. For JMO, I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm gonna go B+. I'm gonna go B+. I think there is a lack of, a little bit of awareness that knocks that to a B+. But he had a good year, man. He did. He had a really good year. But B+ is still good. What happened to B+s? You're in school, you get a B+ on a test. You're hype.
Yeah, we'll give out a couple of those.
I'll give him a B+.
What did you give him, Klotz? I'm sorry.
I gave him an A. 1,000-yard wide receiver too. There's not many that can say that, and I feel like you'd give all those other wide receivers a season. So
yeah, honestly, I'm with Klotz. I think Jeff's one of those teachers in high school or whenever you're taking classes that it's like, I hate this teacher because this teacher grades way too hard, and
he'd take 2 points off if he didn't put your last name at the top line.
Yeah. It's the worst. I hate those teachers. So that's the type of grader Jeff is. I'm with you though, Klotz. I think JMO deserves all the respect in the world for what the expectations going into the year. Like obviously that people were high, but if you said JMO was going to get 1,000 yards at the beginning of the season, you were getting roasted. You were getting flamed. Everyone was going at you. You were gonna be the butt of every joke if you said JMO was going to get 1,000. And people thought you were crazy. And guess what he did, boys? He went out there and got 1,000, had what was it, 7 or 8 touchdowns, maybe even more with rushing. Like he dominated this year. Dominated. And he gained my respect this season doing what he did. He overperformed from what most expectations were for Jameson Williams. So I'll give him an A as well. I like that. I guess.
Next player, Terran Arnold. Give me a grade for the rookie.
Hey, I said I give some B+ out, so here it comes. Absolutely not. He's not getting a B+. But Terrion, he was put in a tough position, especially after Carlton went down. But still, I think he definitely underwhelmed. Doesn't mean you can write his career off. I mean, I think you've seen many corners in the NFL, especially Hall of Fame corners, that had a rough rookie year. So I think Terrion definitely is going to bounce back. But this year, being brutally honest, I'm going to give him a C-, and I almost want to give him a D+ because how bad those pass interference and holdings were at the beginning of the season, but he bounced back. I thought he was good against the run, but there was multiple times where the ball was in the air and Terrion Arnold just panicked, and it was consistently a couple plays in the playoffs where you're like, Terrion, what are you doing? So I'm going to give a C- here, but I expect him to kind of take a step up next year, get to like a B+ level. That will be where the B+ comes into play, Jeff. There we go.
C.
Incorporate it somehow.
C. Very disappointing. I like Terrion too. I just think when you look at other corners around the league as a rookie, elite. Whether it was rookie safeties, corners, whatever it was, like some Weezy just put Mike Sanders still. I know maybe not the same player, but like you look at Cooper DeJean, you're looking at Quinyon Mitchell, like there are rookies out there that are like you didn't need them to be. You didn't need Terrion to be those guys, but man, throughout the season, like that was brutal. There was some brutal moments, if we're being honest, especially to start the year.
Yeah, I heard you said about me, Boone. I'm a hard grader. You're the teacher I love to have. You give everyone a C, which is bad. I actually,
I gave out two A's and a C. So
no, I said you gave a C out, and you said I'm sorry. That's fine. That means he had an okay rookie year. I think he had a terrible rookie year, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna go C-. I almost gave him a D+. I'll go C-. That's where I was early this year. I'm gonna keep it that way. He had a terrible playoff game, man. Awful. Which I want to knock it down, but I'm gonna be A. I learned something today. I'm gonna be a little nice of a grader. I'm gonna give him a little plus. So not D+, but I'm gonna go C-. I'll give him a bump. I'll give him a bump. All right, next guy, and then we'll get Caleb in here. Actually, 3 guys. We'll do it quickly though. Jack Campbell. Give me a grade for Jack Campbell.
I'm gonna go B+. Very solid. I don't think A, but B+. Boone.
A-. I'll go A-. I think Jack had a good year, especially for having to step up with Anzo down with the green dot. He went out there. I think he led the team in tackles this year. He was elite, and you got to see Jack finally take that step forward, which was good. And I think Jack's going to turn into a very good linebacker in the NFL. I think we got to see a lot of it this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Jack. I'm going to give him a B. I thought he improved from his rookie year, and hopefully he just continues to improve. I called that pick a couple weeks. It's okay. It's coming, but I'm going to give him a B for Jack Campbell. We'll stick it with that. We'll do coaches another day. We'll bring in Caleb, and then we'll get to our pick 'em, because this weekend we have NFC and AFC championship weekend, so we'll get our picks. But yeah, come on, the play. How do we? I mean, it was some of the best, most important players to grade. All right, that was pretty fair. I don't know if I missed anyone. Maybe we can get to more players and different.
We can do it again too, because there's some big players like the core players that maybe underwhelmed. Could have overwhelmed.
Yeah, there's players that potentially maybe we missed out on. But it's that time. Hold on. There's a man who hosts a show on Saturdays. Electric. Okay. The man. The myth. The legend. Caleb Zarnik. Caleb.
What's up, boys? Always appreciate the introduction, Jeff. I do gotta ask you guys though, how do you guys feel about Brad Holmes trading the first round pick, maybe going all in this year? Or do you think he should draft in the first round? So I'll start with you, Boone, you first. Okay, but seriously, I do want to say, shout out Dante151 super chat. Just hit a 5-leg parlay. Atta baby. Come on. That's a great way to start your weekend.
You know what?
Great way to start your weekend. There we go, Dante. Oh, hold on. Something's wrong with my computer here.
There you go.
Oh, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. All right, yeah. There we go, Dante. There you go.
Can we get a round of applause from everyone?
Hey, congrats to Dante, man. Listen, he gave us another $5 too, Dante. So breaking news, the Cowboys are hiring Brian Schottenheimer as their new head coach. Jesus. My goodness, the Cowboys are in flames. Ryan, thank you for the $2 to trade first round pick or draft Jack Sawyer. Okay, now we're gonna get into this. That's a good
By the way, too,
it
just got tweeted out 14 seconds ago. It's official. Robert Saleh going to the 49ers.
Yeah, damn it, it's tough. Caleb Daniels. Thank you for the $2. What is this? What does this mean?
It's like mid or mid.
Seneca.
I'd go Seneca Wallace, I guess, by default.
This
What
is
is
a great conversation for like 3 a.m. after a couple beers. Chris Redmond or Seneca Wallace.
Caleb Daniels. Why don't we go out for a drink?
What do you think? What's 2 other names that could be used for this, Caleb?
Give me like Sean Hill, maybe. Former 49er,
Sean Hill and
former
like
Lion.
David Garrard.
Yeah, sure. Jeff Garcia, maybe. But Jeff Garcia might be a little bit over the top.
He had some wheels on him. He was sneaky fast, Jeff Garcia.
Yeah, sneaky fast.
Chris Redmond or Seneca. Like, what a question. Caleb, shout out to Caleb Williams, man. Caleb Daniels.
Man, can't get him off his mind.
He's always on your mind.
Cannot get him off his mind.
Jesus Vision, thank you for the $2. Says, oh, please, Chiefs sold their soul. El Guapo, thank you for the $5. Not sure if anyone has seen our schedule next year. It's going to be tough to keep the same output. It's going to be tough to keep the same output. Zay, thank you for the $5. This offense should be more run heavy, especially come playoff time with Gibbs. Eagles-esque. There you go. So we appreciate all you guys. All right. It is that time. Let's get to it. Championship weekend. I have the updated schedules for everyone. So let's see how the standings.
Wipe that smile off your face, Klotz. Now.
I don't know what's going on.
Things are going to get serious
how the standings look. All right. It's a battle.
Caleb, what did I tell you? That Texans Chiefs pick, that was the one to cost you. That was the one.
I might call for a recount here because I could have sworn I just caught fire. I mean, there might have been weeks where I went like 7-1, and the record doesn't show that. So I'm disappointed in myself. But there's still 3 games left. But I mean, if I do end up losing, I will call for a recount.
Boone, we go to Boone.
Caleb,
Caleb,
what's up, Boone?
Don't ever question my numbers. Don't listen. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I love your hat, by the way.
Appreciate. I love your Ford hat as well. But don't ever question my numbers. Don't, because you're bad at picking games.
All right.
Do not put that on
me. That might be it for me. What, Boone? What the hell, man? You're supposed to be on my team.
Caleb, you literally just said you want a recount. You just told me you wanted a recount. I'm the one that doesn't. These are my numbers.
That might be the sore loser in me. I'm just a competitor, Boone, and I think you have to respect it.
I would like you to apologize for trying to come at my numbers. I think you should apologize for coming at the data.
Hey, please. Caleb, you know where I'm going at? I'm going at Mike again. I mean, throw the fucking thing up, dude. I mean, I'm battling. Like, look at me and Boone.
I haven't gotten picks for 3 weeks from Mike.
I mean, that is like, what? Guys,
I think at some point.
Maybe 2 weeks. Maybe 2 weeks.
No. At some point, I want the chat. Please. Am I crazy for this? At some point, I just get second. Being more active. Best ability is availability. And when it comes to pick 'em, I've been available. I've sent the picks. Chat. Is this W or L? L. Maybe I just like give me a W. Give me a W if I should be in second place. All right. I want the chat's kind of feel on this.
Spam the chat with L's, please.
No. W. Because I should be in second place. All right, I'm done. Sorry, Caleb.
I will say this. This is almost like Unk stepping away from the team for a little bit when it comes to pick 'em. You know, maybe got suspended, doing something he's not supposed to do off the field. Unk, come on now.
There's a lot of L's in there.
Next man up. We got
Crunch Time Sports commented out.
Hey, Booner's putting L. This guy's
that was not me. That was not me. That's Crunch Time Sports. That's
not me. Hefe, I was talking.
That's like
it's Caleb or Boone.
No, it's Boone. I know it's Boone. He's the only guy to do that shit.
Come on.
You know what?
Hey, Boone, say it wasn't you.
I would never do it. Someone just put a W in there. That was me right there. I just did it for you. Look, another W. That's me. I'm helping you out there, Jeff.
Caleb?
I'm the commissioner of the league. I'm the commissioner of Pick'em.
He's never.
No. Let's get back on track here. I just would love hey, Boone, sorry for going at as the commish. You've done a good job. I would love an apology.
All right. No. But anyway, chat. If you could, if anybody saw those,
it's over.
If anybody in the chat
should be scared for your life.
The win percentages, so I know how many games I have to win. Not a math guy here. So how many games I have to win to be ahead of Klotzy.
You want it? I got it. Do you want it?
Can I trust it?
This guy's gonna
hey, I'm just busting your balls, Boone. Just busting your balls.
Gonna get kicked out of the league.
I'm just busting your balls. We're having a good time
He
here.
will not. He will
Caleb
not. I'll fix
is
that.
at
You got it.
48.76%. Klotz is at 49.22%, less
Wow.
than 1%. It is like
Okay.
neck and neck. So
Klotz
I
is-
think I think it's literally like a 1-game difference. Let me see something here.
Klotzy's foot in that pocket. Just there you go, Klotzy.
Dissected.
Yeah, dissecting.
I think if Klotz, and I can check it here real quick, but I think if
There you
Klotz
go,
goes 0-2, and even if you go 1-1, I think maybe something changes there.
Maybe.
Caleb, are you the type of guy like you're down fourth quarter of a game? Are you? Is it going to make you or is it going to break you?
No, I want the ball, Jeff. You know, I want the ball. Last seconds of the game, I'm always going to be the one taking the last shot.
Caleb, you know what? I want you to have the ball too, because you know what I saw last week? A
What's up?
meltdown, pissing down the legs. You bet against Mahomes.
Okay.
With CJ Stroud and that offense,
He
the way that
did.
it was looking, you could have took the field goal.
Caleb, hey,
know what
me
you
and
did?
Caleb wrote a lot of the
Went
same
for it
games
on
last
fourth
week.
down, and Klotzy picked it off, and he's running the other way, and he's taking it down the sideline, and he's almost in the end zone. Caleb, I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
the Heisman pose? No.
Look, he's allowed to do all this fancy stuff, but I'm just here to win.
All right, let's start. Let's see what we can get here. We got 2 games, and it's gonna be hard to make a comeback. You only got 2 games, but you got to be gritty. Got to be gritty.
It's my middle name.
Bills at Chiefs. Chiefs -2. Chiefs -2.
Hey, real quick before I go, I just want to give Caleb some good news here. Caleb, if you go 2-0 and Klotz misses one game and goes 1-1, you will take the lead, and then all that's left is a Super Bowl. So
What if I go 1-1 and he goes 0-2?
You take the lead. You need to beat him by 1 here.
So,
What I needed to hear.
If Klotz goes 2-0, there's nothing you can do.
And Klotz
But
goes first.
You need
Or,
Klotz.
third in front of Caleb. He
You
goes in
need
front of
Klotz
Caleb.
just to miss one game, and you need to go 2-0, or you need him to miss both, and you win one game. So this is actually this is big. This is a big week.
Yeah,
What was the first game? I'm sorry, I was locked in to get.
No,
I wanted to make sure my friend Caleb. People said, "Booner, stop being mean to Caleb in the chat." Caleb, I apologize. I'm a man of integrity. I will apologize to you. I'm sorry, brother.
Hey,
man.
Klotz could easily just tail Caleb and tie, but he's going in front of Caleb. So now he's
That's
in a
why I
tricky-
love
As I
this.
should.
What's the first game?
Bills at Chiefs. Chiefs -2.
Oh, you guys know where I'm going. I'm going the Chiefs or the Bills +2. Josh Allen, he finally gets the job done. Easy pick here is the Chiefs on the road, all of that. Nope, not doing it. Give me the Bills and Josh Allen. Gets the job done, boys.
Give me the Chiefs at home. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl to face the Lions. Lions won't be there, but give me the Chiefs. I'm sticking with my pick.
A lot of pressure, huh? A lot of noise.
It comes down to this.
Lot of saying, can he do it? Can he make the right picks? Does he have enough? You know who else is hearing that? Patty Mahomes. Andy Reid. It's the worst the Chiefs have been. No, it's not. We heard Trey Wingo on Wednesday saying, if you put your money against Mahomes, I'll take whatever you're smoking. You know what? Give me Mahomes and the Reid. They're going to go to try to three-peat. We'll see if they do it, but they're going to be in the bowl. They're going to be covering.
Okay, so this is a gamble I'm going to have to make because I love the Chiefs in this game. So
If I was you, Caleb,
gamble and take the. Are you going to take the next one?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think you should do Chiefs and do opposite of him in the second one because the second one's a bigger spread. That's just my opinion.
But I also like love a pick in the second one where I might like two. I might. Oh man! All right, give me the Chiefs.
Take
Yeah.
Give me the Chiefs, man.
He steps up. He takes the shot. Bang!
Oh, it's so tough, man. I feel uncomfortable now. I don't like that I just did that.
It's okay. Hey.
You can roll with the Bills if you want. Come on now.
So the next game, Commanders at Eagles. Eagles -6.
6.5 now. It's moved.
Well, remember we do when it entered. We do always do it based on.
We do it. I always have this up during the show. I change it on the show. 6.5 is always the line. Always, all year.
Not the Chiefs last week. We actually won because of it.
The Chiefs didn't move last week. I checked it live on air, and it was the same. It was good.
Still 8.5.
No, it moved because remember
It's
Caleb
6.
got all happy and jittery because it was 9.5 when we started.
Yeah,
and then it was 8.5 when the game started.
All right, don't matter. Just go with the 6.5.
Six and a half. Give me the Commanders. Need that half a point, boys. Give me the Commanders.
He's fighting over the hat. You can.
I think the Commanders. Honestly, though, boys, I think the Commanders win the game. I'm gonna take Commanders money line. I don't know where the chat's at. I would love to know if the chat thinks Commanders can actually win this. And without recency bias of them beating the Lions, I do think the Commanders can win this football game. You take Saquon. I know it's hard. Like, take Saquon out. I heard Bill Belichick today make a good point. Hey, if these safeties can step up and make tackles, you win this football game. And I think that's the big key. And I think that's all they're focused on this week. And Dan Quinn, defensively, he's gone up against Saquon Barkley for years. He knows what to do. I think they're going to have a game plan. And I think Commanders win the game. Give me the 6.5.
Yeah, I think this game, it's tough. I think the Eagles win this game, but it's like a divisional opponent. So like those games you always think are going to be pretty close.
Do it, Jeff.
No, but I'll go Eagles on this.
Wow, I hate that. Come on, man.
I'm gonna go Eagles on this. Give me the Eagles win to win.
That felt like a chase pick from you. That you're chasing me.
Yeah,
felt like chase pick
for sure. I'll admit for sure.
Caleb, who do you think I'm gonna take? Caleb, who do you think?
I don't know if I want to say it. I'm not giving you nothing. You go.
I'll go. Just like the Commanders will go, and they'll cover. Give me the Durs in this spot. Divisional game.
Yes.
It's going to be hard to speed. Hey, take your
What
fly.
a bad pick.
Take them. That's fine.
What a bad pick.
Jaden Daniels, he'll cover. Eagles will win. Commanders cover.
Thanks.
And I'll say this. I am getting my ass ripped apart by these Eagles fans on Twitter.
Whoa.
Pause. Come on. You know what I meant. I'm getting shredded. on Twitter by the Eagles fans. These guys, they're like in kindergarten. I can't even make jokes. The Eagles fans are really coming after me on Twitter. There's that.
So you're gonna bow down to them and say you're right. Give me the Eagles. They're
no,
winning.
but look. I'm a prideful man, but at the same time, I like winning money, and I think the Eagles are just a much better team than the Commanders. I think Saquon Barkley is going to run all over this team, and at home, I think they're going to cover 6.5. I do, and I was really hoping you were going to say Commanders. That line, by the way, started at 3.5, moved all the way up to 6.5. So give me that. 6.5. Eagles fans, I still hate you. I do not like you. But 6.5. I'm taking it Eagles.
Well
Viles, come on, man.
Hey, by the way, before we end the show, live tomorrow, 10 to 11 a.m. Saturday mornings with Crunch Time. So be there discussing more of what's been going on. We'll probably get more news, so you're going to want to not miss that show. It'll be a great time. But appreciate all of you today for tuning in. All the arguments, all the discussions, the yelling. It was a great show. Also, get your merchandise. Hey, got the Kings of the North merch. Looking pretty good. The boys got to look at that. Yeah, the Lions, NFC North champion shirt. Boone's got the Kings of the North black hoodie with the sleeve design on it. So get your merchandise. Subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. And also, we'll be on our good friend Marco's show tomorrow, Scratch Golf Show. Appreciate Marco. Me and Booner hopping on in the morning. So tune into that as well. Give him a subscribe because he's the man. We will see you guys tomorrow and have a great weekend.
I love you guys.
Peace.